Um,
Madam Clerk, do we have a quorum here?
There is 4 council members in the chamber, and yes, we have a quorum. Mayor, we do have a quorum. Would you like me to take a roll call?
Okay, it sounds like the mayor's having a connection issue, so we'll just take over. Let's go ahead and start with the roll call, please.
Councilwoman Zendejas?
present.
Councilwoman Allen?
Present.
Councilwoman Price?
Present.
Councilman Supernaw?
Here.
Councilwoman Mungo? Councilwoman Sorrow?
Present.
Councilmember Uranga? Councilmember Uranga? Councilman Austin?
Here.
Vice Mayor Richardson?
Here.
Mayor Garcia?
I'm here as well. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, great. Just before we get started, today is our last virtual meeting. I know it's a little bit of a hybrid, so we have some members that are virtual, and we have a few that are in the chambers. And then starting next week, of course, we are all back in the chambers full time, which will be great. But we're going to go and start with some presentations. And I want to first turn this over to Councilwoman Price.
Mayor, we need to salute, do our Pledge of Allegiance.
Oh, I'm sorry about that. Let's go ahead and I'm going to actually have Vice Mayor, why don't you go ahead and do our Pledge of Allegiance and our moment of silence.
Sure. Thanks. Please rise if you are able. We'll take a brief moment of silence, and we'll keep the conflict in Ukraine in mind. Thank you. Now, please place your right hand over your heart and join me in saluting our nation's flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay, so I guess we'll go right into the presentation. Councilwoman Price.
Thank you very much. I'm honored this evening to be able to have a presentation at our City Council meeting tonight in recognition of Women's History Month. This incredible progress that women have made in this country has been amazing and inspiring for women like me, women who came before me, and those who will come after me. The progress that has been achieved is historic, and it has been led by remarkable women who have led by example and spoken up against injustice and sexism, creating opportunities that we have today. The movement of women's rights has been led by individual women putting themselves on the line to make a difference for themselves as well as for my generation and generations to come. However, the progress that we have made is not complete. We still see significant progress needed for real equality and parity between the sexes in this country. Recently, we have seen new challenges being leveled against women's rights, and I'd like to take this opportunity to reiterate that women have exclusive rights over their bodies. As we see legislative efforts all across the country being made to turn back time and in some instances stifle women's rights, undoing nearly 50 years of legal precedent, it is important to understand the struggles and the challenges of the women who have fought for years and generations before us for equality, justice, and gender equity. I'm proud tonight to have with us one of our women leaders in this city. I have a unique opportunity as a councilwoman, as do all of the councilwomen on this body, to give voice to women who may not be able to speak up. As women, we must support one another and raise up to the voices and experiences of women who are overlooked, dismissed, and perhaps unfairly generalized by the media and the people around them. We owe it to one another to stand up not just for ourselves, but for our fellow women who deserve to have the rights protected and to have access to all of the opportunities and rights available in this nation. And with that, I want to turn it over to one of the strongest and powerful voices of women's rights in our city, Zoe Nicholson.
I'm so proud to be here. Thank you, Susie, for making this happen. And I'm only calling you Susie because right now I'm just giving you a heart message. But Councilwoman Price, thank you so much. And I have to stop for just a moment to celebrate in wild abandon that we have a majority of women on my city council. And it means so much to me. Life is different when women have a preponderance at the table. As Shirley Chisholm says, if there isn't a chair for you at the table, then bring your own chair. So some of you may know I have a tendency to be just a little long-winded, and I made an oath that I would keep this short because you have to help the people of Long Beach through your meeting. So I brought this down to 6 screens, which I have to admit is a miracle. Anyway, I only want to tell you about 4 dates in history and why they have a relationship. So, as you probably know, July 21st, 1848 is a really famous day. It was the very first time that that anyone, let alone Mrs. Stanton, called for women to have the vote. Her husband was so mad, Henry was so furious with her, he did not go to the very first women's conference, so when it was open to men that very day to vote on it. And the next day, half the people that said yes wanted to rescind their vote. It was highly controversial, and it's going to fit into the story as we go along. So the next slide, please. I want to tell you about this young woman. This is Alice Paul, Quaker. She was born in 1885. She went to Swarthmore. She was able to finish. Her mother wasn't able to finish because once a woman married, they were not allowed to continue in college. But Alice finished, and her graduation, she went on to work at that settlement house, that big building at 95 Rivington Street. And she worked with the poor, the Irish, the Italian, and the Jewish people coming from Eastern Europe. And she was part of seniors or graduates helping these immigrants come from Ellis Island to help them learn English and about the food and where to get housing and all of our customs. And it was there, working with the poor, that Alice Paul came to the conclusion that the answer is, the only remedy is the Equal Rights Amendment. The only remedy is for all Americans to have equal rights under the law. So she was 21 years old when she had that epiphany. It lasted her 92 years. Next slide, please. And so what she did is, after suffrage was won, she worked on suffrage for 7 years. She actually got a group of 13 women attorneys to dedicate their lives to making up the language for the Equal Rights Amendment. And it was kind of not that hard to find 13 women who didn't have anything to do, because if you went to any school at all and got a law degree, you still could not practice. And as Crystal Eastman found out when she sent her dues into the bar, they returned her money and told her women will not be admitted to the bar. So now here is that date, July 21st, 1923, Seneca Falls, just where the first conference has been. And there is the National Women's Party on that very day, 75th anniversary of the vote, that she presented the words of the Equal Rights Amendment. And after the meeting on the right, she went to Susan B. Anthony's grave and dedicated the amendment to Susan B. Anthony. Next slide, please. And so, believe it or not, there it is. Isn't it something that we fulfilled all of the requirements required by the Constitution itself to get a majority of states to vote for the Equal Rights Amendment, which states that equality of rights under the law shall not be denied or abridged by the United States or any state on account of sex. And I was actually in the balcony when they voted on it. And I want to tell you why. Because our fabulous representative, Alan Lowenthal, got me a seat in that balcony. And so I was in Virginia for that vote. And it was 2 years ago, which means this January 27th, the Equal Rights Amendment became law, because it was required that it would happen 2 years after ratification. And I hope the curious ones, the ones who are listening, understand. They want to know, why didn't it pass? Why don't I know it? And it's because Bill Barr, under the direction of the 45th President of the United States, told the archivist to not publish the 38th state. So that is the work of my life right now, is to get it published. Last screen, please. So I promised that I might give you a little taste of what's happening today. Believe it or not, lucky you, today is Equal Pay Day. And today we demonstrate on March 15th that a white woman worked a year and more to March 15th to make as much as a white man makes. And of course, white women make 84 cents on the dollar. I'm very sorry to tell the Latinas, they're making 54 cents on the dollar. All of this, as you celebrated today, the women's soccer team getting pay equity. They were elite, they had attorneys, they had all the media they wanted. And I want that, excuse my back, I want that for all of you. I want you to have equal rights and equal pay for all Americans. Thank you. So, I cannot resist, because I am a bit of a ham, to point out that the bottom left photograph, I had the honor of spending this last weekend with Lily Ledbetter of the Ledbetter Fair Pay Act. You may know she took her case to the Supreme Court and it failed. She did not get the $200,000 more that she should have doing the same job as the man at the next desk. And so a movie was made about all of this, and it premiered this last weekend. Anyway, it's Equal Pay Day, and I hope you all get real mad if you're not getting equal wages. And thank you for your time, and happy Women's History Month.
Thank you so much, Zoe. You do an incredible job. Councilman Price, do you have anything else to add?
No, thank you, Mr. Mayor, for indulging us a little bit. That was an excellent presentation, very educational, and I appreciate allowing Ms. Nicholson to speak as long as she did. It was beautiful. Thank you, Zoe.
Thank you. And Zoe, you're a true champion for all people, but for women especially. So thank you for your incredible work. And with that, let me turn this over to our second presentation, which is Mr. Modica.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council. We're excited to be here to recognize our Employees of the Month for January, February, and March of 2022. So I will start with our fire department. I get to honor Stephanie Picasso, our secretary in our fire department. Stephanie Picasso is the secretary of the Support Services Bureau. She's the main clerical support for the deputy chief and assistant chief, and is responsible for coordinating the fire recruit selection process and maintaining the department's online training platform, Vector Solutions. She also serves as secretary of the Friends of Long Beach Firefighters, a nonprofit organization. In her free time, she enjoys volunteering with her daughter's multi-level Girl Scout troop. She also loves dogs, spending time in her newly pet-turfed backyard. Stephanie started her service with the fire department in 2018 as a clerk typist in the admin bureau. Prior to joining the fire department, she worked for 12 years as a reservation sales and training specialist at Walt Disney Travel Company in Anaheim. Through her hard work and resourcefulness, Stephanie consistently demonstrates her dedication to the department. She's well organized, an excellent team player who has contributed to the success of the organization. She's an asset to the city of Long Beach, and the fire department is so grateful to have her on her team. If we can welcome up Stephanie.
Thank you very much. Oh, no. Sorry. All right.
1, 2, 3. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Our next employee of the month is Sonat Lee. Sonat Lee is a permit tech 2 in the Development Services Department. Sonat is with our Building and Safety Bureau and is the personification of a stellar employee who contributes superior performance and outstanding customer service. Sonat began her service to the city as a contract employee in December 2018 and was recognized for her impressive work ethic and skill set, and subsequently hired as a customer service rep 2 before being promoted to her current position in the Permit Center in June 2021. Sonat is an exemplary team player who leads with a positive, can-do attitude and can always be depended on to assist where most needed. From cashiering to permit issuance duties to training new team members, Sonat does it all with a friendly smile and demeanor and to enhance productivity and provide the best experience for both residential and commercial customers at the Permit Center. She demonstrates a remarkable ability to learn new technology and software quickly and applies her knowledge to streamline operations and continuously deliver excellent customer service. While Sonette is always demonstrated exceptional professionalism and willingness to serve, she has especially exceeded expectations throughout the pandemic, going above and beyond her normal duties and working in different capacities in support of critical permit center operations. She's a tremendous asset to development services in the city, and her diligent efforts have contributed to many of the department's noteworthy achievements, including responding to nearly 42,000 permit-related inquiries, issuing more than 9,500 permits in 2021, and we're so proud to recognize her for her hard work and dedication to the city of Long Beach. Sunny, come on up. Our next employee is Ryan Lang, our painting supervisor in the airport department. Ryan Lang is the supervisor for painting at Long Beach Airport. His professional demeanor and positive attitude set an example for others. Frequently, in addition to his painting duties, he's called upon to address general maintenance issues, and his responsiveness and eagerness in addressing maintenance at the airport is exemplary. He is also often counted upon to assist with volunteer activities, including participation in parades and other events highlighting the airport and the city. The Airport Maintenance Division recently assisted with President Biden's visit to Long Beach by providing lighting and barricades for Air Force One at the request of the U.S. Secret Service, and Ryan was instrumental in coordinating those efforts. Accurate and readily identified airfield markings are essential at all airports and are particularly critical at commercial service airports like Long Beach Airport. Through Ryan's ongoing painting efforts in coordination with airport operations, critical airfield markings have been enhanced, directly contributing to the safety of our airport. These efforts were recently recognized during Long Beach Airport's annual Federal Aviation Regulation Part 139 inspection, where our airfield markings were noted to be in excellent condition. Thank you so much for your service, Ryan. Our next is Gabriel Gaete. Gabriel is the library's Mobile Studio Coordinator, which is a grant-funded program that brings libraries' STEAM, which is science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics programming, out into the community, including schools, parks, and community events, and even local neighborhood libraries. The program would not exist without Gabe's dedication to developing innovative and engaging projects that appeal to Long Beach youth and families. You can also find Gabe assisting patrons at Billie Jean King Main Library Studio, where he has helped to develop our Curiosity series that includes programs such as drones, light, sound, motion, space, and interactive electronics retrospective and designing your dream home. Gabe has been instrumental in developing the library's summer program series, Make, Create, Design, which for 2 summers has taught our teens the art, science, narrative, and sound of voice game design. He is also a leader of the team that moved our studio programs virtual at the beginning of the pandemic, creating a series of video programs called Make Time, all available to watch on the library's YouTube page. Currently, Gabe is spearheading the expansion of the library's STEAM ecosystem, which brings together local STEAM experts from our community to teach workshops in the fields that they are passionate about. The project has really shown the strength of Gabe's project management and collaboration skills. Gabe is a leader not just of our local library system, but on a statewide and national level. He is often invited to present at conferences to talk about his work at the library studio and helping neighborhood library systems develop their own master spaces and mobile services. He does all this while juggling his own artistic passions. You may have seen his mural work around town, and he brings a passion for art, learning, tinkering, and sharing to all of his work at the library and has helped create such a wonderful space and community for connecting. Congratulations to Gabe. Thanks, Jeff. We have two more to recognize. We have Aisha Thompson, our Human Resources Officer. Aisha is our Human Resources Officer overseeing the city's occupational health clinic. She started her career in the city in 2009 as an administrative intern non-career. She has the tremendous responsibility of managing a full-service occupational health clinic. The services that are provided play a critical role in employee injury care as well as the pre-employment process. In addition to the normal day-to-day operations, occupational health became the primary COVID-19 response team for the City of Long Beach. For City of Long Beach employees. Aisha and her team were tasked with conducting the contact tracing for city employees to ensure the city was minimizing the risk of exposure in the workplace. During the pandemic thus far, she and her team have conducted over 4,300 contact tracing interviews, assessing the risk and excluding employees from the workplace until it's safe to return. Without Aisha and our small but mighty team, the health and safety of our employees during the pandemic would have been almost impossible to manage. And for this, she's most deserving of the accomplishment. And just a personal note, the customer service she provides when people had a contact exposure with COVID and would call her just was unbelievable and amazing. Talking to 4,300 employees, nearly everyone in our organization had some contact with Aisha and her team, and she provided just amazing service. So can't thank her enough for that. Thank you, Aisha.
Thank you.
And our last is Diego Duarte. Diego is a recreation leader specialist in Parks, Rec, and Marine. He is described by his coworkers and supervisor as someone who gives 110% to the job every day. He's the guy you turn to when you need help with any task or project. Diego approaches every day with a positive can-do attitude. He started his career with the department as a youth sports participant at the age of 6 years old. Little did he know that his involvement as a participant in park programs and his many years of a teen volunteer would help mold him into the exceptional employee that he is today. Diego's kind and helping demeanor has assisted him advance from an entry-level staff to now having oversight over our very popular mobile recreation program. When asked what his favorite part of the job was, Diego shares that he loves helping the community. He loves being a part of programs that make a difference in the lives of youth and families. In his spare time, Diego enjoys participating in the department's adult softball program. And a fun fact about Diego is he loves collecting sneakers. He's a proud owner of over 200 pairs of sneakers. The department is proud of Diego and all of his hard work in our parks program. So welcome, Diego. Thank you, Mayor and Council, and everyone for allowing us to do this. It's so important, especially during the pandemic where we don't get to see people very often, is to bring them together and really recognize them for their incredible service. So appreciate you allowing us to do this, and we'll be back in a couple months.
All right. Thank you, City Manager Modica. And congratulations to all of the employees of the month. Once again, I'm going to take over. We're going to go to the agenda now. I see that we need to take up the consent calendar. So let's go ahead and hear the consent calendar.
Can we get a motion and a second on the consent, please?
Motion.
Okay, we're going to take a voice motion.
So moved.
So moved. Second.
Okay, I hear Austin. I heard second.
Sorrow.
Price.
Sorrow, Councilwoman Sorrow.
There it is.
I'm live.
Second Sorrow.
Moved by Austin, seconded by Sorrow. Is there any public comment?
Public comment on the?
If there are any members of the public that would like to speak, please line up at the podium. If you're attending virtually, please use the raise hand feature or dial *9 for consent calendar. You have 3 minutes.
Is this for non-agenda public comment?
This is for consent calendar items. Do you have a comment on the consent calendar?
Public, non-agenda.
That will be later. Thank you. That concludes public comment.
Fantastic. Thank you. Let's have a roll call vote, please.
District 1?
Aye.
District 2?
Aye.
District 3?
Aye.
District 4?
Aye.
District 5? District, thank you. District 6?
Aye.
District 7?
Aye.
District 8?
Aye.
District 9?
Aye.
Motion is carried.
Fantastic. Let's go to our first general public comment.
If there are any members of the public that would like to speak non-agenda public comment, please line up at the podium, or if you're attending virtually, please use the raise hand feature or dial *9. You have 3 minutes.
Thank you. Great evening, everyone. With giving all glory and honor to God, I am here to address a few things. One, in the last City Hall meeting regarding cannabis activity, it was stated that there was another delay in moving forward with the 8 social equity dispensaries. May I pause here to remind you, there is nothing equal about a 32 non-equity versus 8 social equity dispensary ratio. Now, it should have taken place that November, but during the October meeting, the Department of Cannabis Oversight stated that it was extended until March. Now we are in March, yet once again it is extended until late April or May. How long do you think we will continue to patiently wait our turn while we see outsiders within our communities making millions of dollars a month and we sit struggling, losing everything we own and waiting for our opportunity? We are given invalid excuses and told how complicated the selection process will be when it's very simple. Choose from within. We don't need ignorant outsiders dictating who should be awarded a dispensary. If the selection process for 32 wasn't complicated, please don't attempt to do that to us. Second, it's ridiculous the amount of homelessness that we have in our city when we are making millions of tax dollars from cannabis alone. Please redirect those funds to the humans that are living on the streets versus padding your pockets with it. Lastly, equity applicants should not be limited to only adult use licensing benefits. We should have free reign to apply for whatever activity, whether adult use or medical, and receive all of the help we can to right all of the wrongs you all have done to us over decades of time, all in which cause generational poverty and unspeakable pain. We do desire our 40 acres and a mule now. Thank you.
BK, your time begins now in the Zoom.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I'm wanted to bring up a topic around the address 4134 Orange Avenue. Since December 2021, 4134 Orange Avenue has been conducting business activities without licenses, including large parties and the cooking and selling of food without a permit. Bixby Knolls residents have been advised by various departments, including the police and the district councilman's office, to call the non-emergency line when 4134 Orange Avenue's business activities disturb the peace or break laws. The type of laws and disturbance of peace examples include blasting loud music for hours at night, hundreds of people gathering at this address, people and cars blocking roadways and parking illegally, people screaming, slamming doors, and speeding and littering throughout the neighborhood. Residents call the non-emergency line and the police come out and don't stop the illegal activities, resulting in the aforementioned activities going on for hours. So the question I pose to the City Council is what is going to be done to address and eliminate the ongoing problems caused by 4134 Orange Avenue. To date, no one from the city government has properly addressed and resolved the multitude of safety issues and public nuisance issues caused by this one address.
Our last speaker is Edward Wilson. Your time begins now.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes. Please begin.
Mr. Wilson, please begin your comments.
Yes, hi, my name is Ed Wilson, council member in the city of Signal Hill and a former mayor. I would just like to ask that the city of Long Beach adjourn its meeting tonight in honor of Thari Aung. She was a first Cambodian woman to be on the police commission in the city of Long Beach, and she is a real big, strong advocate for the city of Long Beach and the Cambodian community. And my heart is broken right now, but she passed away on March 10th, 2022. And I'd just like you to consider honoring her by adjourning the meeting in her name. Thank you.
That concludes public comment.
Thank you, and Councilmember Wilson, Councilwoman Sorrow does plan to adjourn in her memory, so thank you for raising that.
Vice Mayor
We're gonna
Richardson?
move on to-
I'm sorry, there is one
Yes.
more gentleman who's in the
Okay.
chamber for public comment.
Great, let's hear it.
Okay, thank you. I just want to pick up on something that I heard the first speaker say. So they were asking for some of the council members to stop lining their pockets. That was in the context of cannabis. I think it's important as broadly. I think the council members, as well as the mayor, really should stop lining their pockets with all that developer money, all that cannabis money, all that money that just comes to you guys. I mean, you put it on your 460s, but how do we know in the public if that's it? How are we supposed to know? All those dinners that you have with those people that are wrecking our community, how much are you getting there? I think we in the public deserve to know. So I think you should address that. You got to come clean. We don't want this, people are talking about homelessness. Well, where is homelessness coming from? It's a creation, it's a policy choice that you people have made because you have decided to side with the developers, with the big money that funds your campaigns, instead of with the people, with your constituents. You'd rather them be out on the street than actually help them, than help the people. You just want to help yourselves because you're corporate politicians. So it's time to say no to that. If you're claiming that you're here representing the people, well, how about you show us, how much money you're getting under the table? Because everyone knows it's happening. You got to stop. You got to stop doing that. You got to be truthful. You got to be honest here in government. That's the kind of change we need. Thanks.
That concludes public comment.
Fantastic, thank you. And I was cut off a bit earlier, but we are gonna close in memory. We do have a closing. Councilor District 6 is gonna facilitate. We're gonna move on to item number 13, and let's do a voice motion. I'm pretty sure it's Councilmember Supernaw. Let's read it. Let's read the item 13.
Communication from Councilman Supernaw, Councilwoman Allen, Councilwoman Price. Recommendation to request City Council support for the CARE Court framework and request City Manager to examine a local program administered by the Long Beach Department of Health and Human Services.
All right, Councilmember Supernaw, motion. Is there a second here?
I'll second.
It's Price.
Okay,
Second.
Okay, Price second. Let's go ahead, Councilman Supernaw, you have the floor.
Okay, thank you. I will just read one sentence from the agendizing memo that's also included in the press release from Governor Newsom. The Care Court framework was created using the evidence that many people can stabilize, begin healing, and exit homelessness in less restrictive community-based care settings. The plan focuses on people with schizophrenia spectrum and other psychotic disorders who may also have substance use challenges and who lack the medical decision-making capacity, and advances an upstream diversion from more restrictive conservatorships or incarceration. And my comments will be brief tonight before I hand it over to the seconder of the motion. But that's not because I'm not enthusiastic about this. I can tell you that the governor made his press release on March 3rd, and this item was agendized for this meeting tonight 4 days later on March 7th. I firmly believe in this because it represents a paradigm shift in the way we're dealing with this crisis, and that's exactly what our constituents have been asking for. I noted in a Press Telegram editorial that it was referenced that, this problem started when Governor Ronald Reagan closed all the mental institutions. I'm sure we've all heard that line before, but that, if you want to say that he signed a bill rather than veto it, the Lanterman bill, that was in 1967. So 55 years ago. What has always struck me about that analysis is that we've had 7 governors since Ronald Reagan was governor of California, and both ends of the spectrum, very conservative to very progressive. And I don't think Ronald Reagan was that powerful. We just lacked the will to address this. And finally, Governor Newsom has tackled this issue head on, and I'd like our council to stand in support of that tonight. I also want to say that I'm fully aware that this has to be passed by the legislature, and all bills are tweaked along the way, but in principle, I'd like us to support it tonight. Also, I added to this that I would like to see local control here. The item as presented is not set up that way. It's for counties, but we do have our own health department. And I've already talked to the Director of Health and Human Services, who mentioned to me, well, this is kind of, this is a civil court-based system, and we don't have that ability. But you know what? It's very early on in the process, so all I'm asking is for city staff to work on a system that we might be able to have local control over. So with that, I'd like to hand it off to the seconder of the motion.
Thank you, Councilman Supernaw.
Price.
Thank you. Thank you, Councilman Supernaw, and thank you for inviting me to sign on to this item. This is an item that's obviously a very important item in terms of a lot of the things that are happening in the area of criminal justice reform and early interception and connecting people with services rather than causing unforeseen or unanticipated negative interactions with law enforcement and the justice system. In recent years, we've definitely seen the landscape change, and although many of our state laws have been implemented were done with good intentions, there have been negative consequences of some of those. So I am thankful that the governor is proposing this new initiative that will help better address the needs of those most urgently in need. Those with addiction-related issues, those with mental health issues and concerns, those individuals that struggle to adequately care for themselves and would truly benefit from a focused effort to get them back on the right track will benefit from the judicial intervention that will allow first responders to be able to refer people to the Care Court program. The Care Court program will allow for those for whom it may be difficult or even impossible to take the first step towards making major changes to their lives, be connected with services in up to 24 months of care and treatment that will help them lead to a path of stabilization and hopefully independent living. The one thing that I think is really important to note is we have so many different collaborative court processes that are available in the state of California, whether it's homeless court, WIT court, which is whatever it takes court, drug court, and now Care Court, are systems that are designed to help support people as they go through a process to connect with services, to get the support they need, to be able to transition from one place in their lives to another in a position of strength and support. And this seems to do that, although Councilman Supernaw is correct. It's so early in the process, I don't know exactly how it's going to work out. But local control would be great, but if care court is similar to any other collaborative court or any other judicial intervention model, it's going to be a collaborative effort that is going to have to come through the county in many ways, because the county is going to be the county that places the order upon the individual and orders a specific treatment plan. I know that this process is expected now to start with the legislature, and I know that there's a timeline that's anticipated to go with that. My biggest concerns are the costs associated with this. And so I'm hoping that city staff can continue to track this legislation if we write this this letter of support, so that we're mindful of what those costs will be, and we can advocate for LA County, which will be the justice system that this care court will be administered out of, is sufficiently funded to be able to accommodate all those who might be able to need and benefit from this treatment. So I want to thank Councilman Supernaw for bringing this item forth, and really huge applause for the governor for being innovative in terms of connecting people with services that they need. Becoming stabilized, whether it's from substance abuse or mental health, is something that often does require judicial intervention to get people to that place, and I'm grateful for this path. Thank you.
All right, I saw Councilwoman Cindy Allen raise her hand. Councilwoman?
Yes, I just want to also say thank you to Councilmember Supernaw for including me on this item. We know that a significant number of homeless individuals in our streets are in desperate need of additional mental health services and care, and this item explores how we can better care for people in need within our community. And the LA County Board of Supervisors voted today unanimously to support the care court program. So just thank you again, Councilman Supernaw, for bringing this forward. This is a great item. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there, before we, I see you, Councilwoman Zendejas. Any other comments inside the chambers?
I have comments.
How do we signal to you, Vice
Councilman
Mayor?
Austin? I'm just going to go to the people in the dais first, then we'll come here. So Councilwoman Sorrow, before.
No, go ahead. So Member Austin. Okay, so thank you. This hybrid is a learning process. So first want to thank Councilmember Supernaw for bringing the item forward with the co-authors of the bill, this item. I do appreciate bringing this forward so that we can have conversation about what we're doing in this crisis that we have around our homelessness challenge that we face. And I think that while this is early on, I think, we kind of started that conversation when I think the Vice Mayor had brought forward kind of a mental health item and how do we localize it from county to mental. So I hope that our staff would look into that as well, in addition to how are we going to partner with the state better as part of the housing plan, because as much as we're able to provide a variety of mental health services that we can look into, ultimately, all of them will need homes, stable homes, in order to be able to recover and I think get back on a healthy path. So I think that needs to, in addition, be looked at. And I just want to mention, there is a fine line that I'm processing between, while I do understand the need to do some level of, insisting people get services and treatment to where it's voluntary. I think it's really important that we look into it and consider what that means and what that looks like in a way where I think it's respectful for everybody and that it's a healthy process, right? So those are my comment, and I look forward in how we can learn more, and our local city can see how we can take steps forward in some of these considerations that we're sharing on at the dais at the moment. Thank you.
Certainly, thank you. Councilman Austin.
Thank you, and also I want to thank Councilmember Supernaw and the co-signers for bringing this forward. Obviously, this was, I see this as a welcome approach to a very serious mental health and behavioral health crisis facing our streets today and exacerbating our homelessness crisis. make no mistake about it. I want to thank you, Councilman Supernaw, for bringing it up and reminding us that we've been moving forward in this state with a failed realignment strategy for over 50 years now. And I think this really must, we need to stop it and stop it now. I will say that I think we need to be fully engaged here as a city council to ensure that whatever is decided in Sacramento, it comes with the necessary local funding support that we need, whether it's going to the county or directly to the city or pass through. But we have a health department which uniquely positions this city to do a lot more than others. I think we need to look at building capacity for community care support, and I know we are doing that simultaneously. And I think this is going to require a major reprioritization of our state resources today to provide the necessary care to literally thousands of people that need it on the streets today. So this item has my support, my full support, and I know that there's going to be a robust conversation in Sacramento in terms of how this looks. And I think we, as a city council, our city needs to be a major stakeholder at that table. Thanks.
Thank you. Councilwoman Zendejas.
Thank you, Vice Mayor, for the opportunity. I just want to give a huge thank you to Councilmember Supernath and Councilwoman Allen and Councilmember Price for bringing this item forward. I think it's very important, especially right now in the times that we are living in right now. This is a continuous problem in the downtown area and in the first district as a whole. One of the things is that I feel is that we have individuals experiencing homelessness who are suffering from mental illness and may not have the capacity to accept services, but it is our responsibility as leaders to try to help them get off the street and get on a pathway to secure housing. So I just want to thank you for bringing this up. And Governor Newsom has in multiple occasions expressed one of his top priorities in our state is addressing the growing homeless concern that is impacting nearly every one of our communities throughout the state. And we all know this very well. The pandemic only exacerbated the already existing issue around the need for secure housing, the need to be able to feel safe and decent and live in decent standards, and also to place individuals with mental health needs in even more vulnerable circumstances, to be able to place them in programs that will uplift them and help them get out of the path that they may be in right now. So with that said, I'm very, very hopeful for this program. This is something that we need to focus on. I hope that we continue keeping a close eye on it, but I do have some questions that maybe staff might be able to answer some of these questions. It may be too early to even have an answer for, but also these are some of the questions that some of my residents have been asking in regards to care court. First of all, and maybe I'll ask him like in 3 questions. And then if I have to queue up again, I will. But some of my residents would like to know, first off, when would the care court framework go into effect if it becomes a legislation? That may be a too early of a question. And also, what does an outpatient model look like, mean, or consist of? And if we don't have those answers right now, maybe we can keep an eye out for those answers.
Our Director of Health and Human Services, Kelly Colopy, will do her best.
Good evening, council members. So the primary, so it still needs to go to a vote. And at that point, there'll have to be a lot of design and work. So it's not really clear yet as to when it will be implemented. We would be working very closely with the county in this process and the ability to look at referral systems and service systems and others as part of that process. In terms of outpatient, so it really provides different opportunities for people to engage based on the level of service need. So an outpatient opportunity could be, weekly meetings with a counselor. It could be everyday meetings. It could be, multiple days. So it can be a lot of different opportunities, but generally outpatient is not a place that you stay overnight. And so it can be, there's a lot of other opportunities from there. I don't know, Tyler, do you have anything you want to add to that? Okay, thank you.
Right. Thank you, council member. Any other council comments?
I wasn't done unless my
sorry.
time was up.
Okay, continue.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. What exactly is the expectations that is being set for the city? How will the state measure whether or a local jurisdiction has met their specified duties, and what exactly are those duties?
Councilmember, I don't think those are identified yet. So the local jurisdictions for this purpose right now, as they're being lined, says county, and so I don't know what at a sub local jurisdiction that looks like as a city, but we don't have any of those in place at this time.
Thank you very much. And I knew some of these were premature, but I wanted to get them out there anyway, just in case. But thank you very much for your help on this, and thank you, Vice Mayor. And again, thank you to the maker of the motion.
All right, thank you. I'll just add my support here. I certainly support this. I'm a family member, and it's hard the sort of judicial process is very hard to navigate, even for family members who have someone who's sort of caught up in the mental health, drug addiction space. It's very difficult to navigate. So having a court that's designed to, specialize in this and tap into diversion, I think it makes sense. The governor's spot on. Thanks, Councilman Supernaw, for bringing it forward so we can endorse this state program. In November, we took a step. I think this dovetails very well with some of the work that we're doing here in Long Beach. In November, we took a step and we asked staff to begin looking at a whole menu of items that we could localize away from the county Department of Mental Health locally. And those discussions are going well, and we just funded a study. And so my question for staff is, how can this dovetail into this, broader discussion about localizing mental health? And where are we with that? If you could provide an update.
So this is Tom. I'll start. Yes, we do see that there's synergy here. The council did ask us to look at how we can work on mental health, and this definitely fits into that, and we think this is a very good proposal. We do have resources. The council just allocated $100,000 last month to be able to start on that study, and we see moving this kind of components about how we can be involved into that study. So I will turn it over to Kelly to answer more on progress.
Good evening. So in terms of the progress, we have been hosting meetings both with the Department of Mental Health we're in sort of spot 8. We are meeting with our local mental health representatives, as well as those in the executive office at the Department of Mental Health, as well as with the Division of Substance Abuse, or otherwise known as SAPC, within the LA County Department of Public Health. So we've been meeting with both of those different teams to look at the ability to streamline resources, understand where the gaps are. We're also moving forward with identifying the advisory committee to this effort, and we anticipate that that meeting will be hopefully in the end of April, early May, as we start to move forward, and then we'll also be bringing on a consultant to support those efforts. Certainly. And that's all incredible progress, and I think thinking about the way that courts connect to this is incredibly important. So, so good work, everyone, and let's remain focused on this mental health, localizing mental health discussion. Is there any public comment on this item?
If there are any members of the public that would like to speak, please line up at the podium, or if you're attending virtually, please use the raise hand feature or dial *9. Seeing none, Oh, sorry. We have members in person. You have 3 minutes.
Thank you. My name is Sherry Ingram. I am a resident at Clement West Apartments here on Chestnut. We, as neighbors in the area, in the building we're in, as well as the immediate area, is concerned and question what's going to come of the vacant store, which was once called Top Value, now it's called something else in Spanish. I don't know how to pronounce without being embarrassed. It seems like we're getting a lot of runaround. Nobody knows who this is, and it's a property. It's a private ownership. But why can't the private ownership let you all know what's going to be happening with that particular building? We need a grocery store. We need it badly. We got lots of people don't get around, as you see I am, and lots of other people. What's going to happen to that particular building that sits on where the old building was, or the building's still there? Someone please answer us. We need a grocery store. Vons is too far and expensive, and the rest of them are a little outreach. But for local, older, elderly, disability persons without a car, I don't have a lot of money to pay a cab to take them there and then wait around for the cab to bring them back home. Let's please find out what's going to happen to this building. Someone please answer.
Well, thank you.
Where we are.
Well,
who I'm talking to.
Thank you. This public comment is limited to this discussion, but Mr. Modica, if you could have someone.
Ms. Tatum is walking over there, Vice Mayor. Ms. Tatum.
Okay, great, thank you. Is there any other public comment on this item?
There's no other public comment on this item.
Okay, let's go ahead and have our roll call vote, please.
District 1?
Aye.
District 2?
Aye.
District 3?
Aye.
District 4?
Aye.
District 5?
Aye.
District 6?
Aye.
District 7? District 8?
Aye.
District 9?
Aye.
Motion is carried.
All right, item 14, please.
Communication from Councilman Austin, Councilwoman Allen, Councilwoman Price. Recommendation to request city manager to investigate the feasibility of repealing the tax for cannabis cultivation in Long Beach.
All right, I'll recognize a motion.
So moved.
Motion Austin, second Allen. Councilman Austin, you have the floor.
Thank you so much. And so I just wanted to bring this motion forward. This item aims to understand the impact of eliminating the cannabis cultivation tax in Long Beach. Actually, since voters passed Measure MA in 2016, our city's cannabis cultivation businesses have been charged $12 for every square foot of product under cultivation. They also pay $161 per pound of dried cannabis flower to the state. Overtaxation obviously can be a barrier for potential cultivators and is a burden to current operators in our city's cannabis industry, so I'm told. Fees associated with cannabis cultivation also affect profits for businesses. I'm sorry? They affect profits for businesses, wages for our local workforce, and prices for consumers. Further, there is no precedent for this tax. No other industry in Long Beach is taxed based on the cultivation of its products. Imagine taxing local farmers for every fruit or vegetable harvested. Not only would the profits or prices at your local farmers' markets increase, but the grower is essentially being fined for successfully growing food. The only groups subjected to this tax are local cannabis cultivators, who should not face additional obstacles because of what they decide to grow and the crop that they grow. A previous reduction of cannabis business license taxes approved by this council in 2019 led to an uptick in active non-retail licenses and likely contributed to a massive financial gains the city hasn't seen since 2020. In the same vein, elimination of cultivation tax could spur unprecedented growth in this sector and provide a net benefit for all involved. These potential impacts merit an investigation and us to look at, and this is why I brought this item before us today. We need to do our due diligence on this topic for the consumers and business community. I'd also like to just point out that since we began collecting revenue in 2019, our city has brought in over $50 million over the past 5 years through cannabis retail and revenues. We've also brought in an additional $8 million. I know we have a pending social equity program, which I want to reemphasize is a priority for me. And so I'm asking for, obviously, the council to support this item this evening. I'm going to thank Council Members Price and Allen for their support on this item. But again, I want to reemphasize, we have been working on this process or this industry for some time, several years now. It's a very fluid industry. We know today things that we didn't know 2 years ago or even 5 years ago. And so I want to acknowledge that. And I do think that we have to get it right. This is an emerging industry. This is an emerging job creator in our city, and we need to do all we can to ensure that we have success in this industry here in the city of Long Beach. So again, I want to thank you for allowing me to present this item and encourage my colleagues' support on it. Thanks.
Thank you. I have a speakers list of Allen, Mungo. Is there anyone else who would like to speak on it? I'm just going to keep a list. Okay, I see Zendejas. Anyone else? Okay, Councilwoman Allen.
Yes, I just want to say thank you to Councilmember Austin for introducing this item, and I was so happy to sign on to it. I've heard from so many folks in the cannabis industry that operators are overtaxed and burdened by various regulations, and cannabis businesses are taxed sometimes 40% more than other businesses, and we need to have equal treatment under the law. I think looking into whether we can repeal the cultivation tax is just a way that we can help businesses succeed and keep jobs in the cannabis industry. So I will be supporting this item. I wanted to ask Councilmember Austin if he would also consider sending, when the presentation comes back, if it can also be presented to the ED&F committee as well. I know that there's been a lot of work done in that committee, if that's possible. But thank you very much, and I just a great item, and it's commend Councilmember Austin and Price for signing on to this. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman Mungo.
Thank you. I want to start by saying that I will be supporting the item tonight, but I would like to bring some information to the forefront of the discussion. I've reached out to landlords and to cannabis business owners, both in the city of Long Beach and outside the city of Long Beach. And it's important to note that the market in Long Beach has been flooded, and that is one of the reasons why the cost per square foot for some of these facilities on the rental side has declined. If we decrease the tax, it would probably help the landlords more than it helps the growers, because then they would be able to sustain a higher price per square foot of the places that they're leasing. So one of the things that I will say, though, that both the landlords and the grower business owners have acknowledged that they are losing money because the initial projections were much higher for demand locally than they ended up being. And I think that that has a lot to do with our inability to stop the large volumes of marijuana coming into Southern California from non-registered grows. Those, I know all grows are illegal because the federal government hasn't yet authorized marijuana yet, but I'm just saying that illegal in the sense of the term of non-certified by a city or authorized by the state of California. So I think that we're really talking about a two-part piece. So what I would also propose is a friendly amendment to include an initialization reduction, so a tiered taxation. So maybe if you're willing to start a cannabis grow in Long Beach and employ a certain number of people, perhaps your taxes are a third of the price for the first 3 years. Then it could be a stair-step escalation. Therefore, the landlords would not take advantage of that and then build in a higher price on the cost per square foot than recouping the money that the taxpayers are giving up. So just something to think about, because it is a supply and demand curve. And once the tax isn't there, the landlords will pick it up on the other side to be comparable with other cities. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Councilwoman Zadejas.
Thank you, Mayor, Vice Mayor. I want to say thank you to Councilmember Austin for bringing this very important item forward. I'm really, really happy to see our city council receiving 2 cannabis-related items in a row. Last week, we voted on accepting more funds for our city's cannabis equity program, and today we have the opportunity to receive the feasibility or request a feasibility report for the changing of our cultivation tax in Long Beach. I think that this is very important. And I think that, if we're moving towards equity, which, within the industry, we really need to pay attention to this. So I am very, very supportive of this item and look forward to the report when it comes back.
Awesome, thank you. I'll just add my support for the item here. I think thanks, Councilman Austin. I think your comments about cultivation and how it's unique to this and how it would be treated if it were, excuse me, I'm muted. How it would be treated if it were a farm. I think that truly resonates. So I'm happy to support this. I would also say that, we have some history with this. It was a very different environment when we had the first discussion about reducing cannabis taxes. And originally there was some apprehension because we thought it would reduce our revenues. But what we actually saw happen was we reduced the taxes, we extended the operating hours. We sort of relaxed the rules a bit. That didn't work when we originally stood up the program. And what we saw happen was the opposite. We brought in more revenue by taking those steps. And so we've certainly learned. And so, Mr. City Manager, as you do this study, I would say let's factor in what we learned. I also I would say, the first time we reduced the taxes, the idea was it was a pilot, right, to see how it worked. I think we at some point need to get to restructuring the way that our retail tax is structured as well. I don't know if that's something we tackle here, but that's certainly something I'm open to. And those are my comments. So before we go to public comment, I heard 2 friendlies. Councilman Mungo, do you want to restate that just so we're clear?
Just to include some analysis on what market pressures are at bay so that even if it's just a few phone calls to some of the landlords on what their price per square foot is, and then comparable, a lot of these landlords own warehouses in multiple jurisdictions, and you'll see that they have various prices based on the city's taxation rate. And so if we're going to reduce the tax rate and then the landlords are just going to swoop up that variance, I don't think any of us want that to be what's happening. I would rather collect the tax and reinvest it back into the businesses for them. Just something to think about.
Great. So include some analysis on sort of the impact to the market demand on the real estate.
Yeah, and consider a stair-steps process where the first 3 years, maybe you have like a fraction of the tax, so that for those first 3 years when you're doing your startup costs and you're getting your customers and all those things, you're relieved of that additional cost burden. And then as you get your feet underneath you and you're becoming more successful, and that's often when these different businesses have like a strut to themselves and the grows are more successful, then they can afford that tax. And the landlords can't build in that high price because then they wouldn't sign the lease in the first place because they know that tax increase is coming.
Okay. And Councilwoman Allen, what was your friendly?
My friendly was to ask make for the motion if the report would also or could also be presented to the ED&F committee in addition to the budget oversight committee.
Got it. Councilman Austin, reactions to the 2 friendlies?
I definitely want to accept the friendly for the ED&F committee, and I think during that process, Councilmember Mungo, who I believe chairs that committee, can further examine her ideas about the cultivation tax, so and impacts on the property owners or landlords, for commercial property owners. And so I'd like to accept Councilmember Allen's friendly and ask that Councilmember Mungo, I think, that's very detailed. I'm trying not to conflate this issue. I want to bring it back kind of clean on its own, and if this is another issue that we can agendize at a later time or study more through the committee process, I'm happy to work with you on that.
Thank you, Councilmember. We meet regularly, so it shouldn't be a problem.
Great. All right, that sounds perfect. So we'll get some input from the ED&F committee and factor some of that in. Let's go ahead and go to public comment.
Mr. Vice Mayor, I wanted to comment as well after.
I'm sorry.
That's
Go ahead,
okay. I apologize. I didn't tell you ahead of time, so no need to apologize. I just, I wanted to take a moment to acknowledge Councilwoman Allen's friendly, because I know there's been a lot of committee work that's done, and I really appreciate the fact that a lot of the details get studied at the committee level and hopefully get incorporated into what comes back to council, and I think that's really important. I do want to say, for me, ultimately, I hope the report very clearly identifies what the bottom line impact to the budget would be, because I'm supportive of this item, happy to support it tonight, looking forward to having the report. But ultimately, the reasons why we discussed a tax to begin with were all related to city revenue and what's generated. So that's ultimately, we need to know that information as we move forward, so that we know what shifts need to be made if in fact we do make a change here, which it might make total sense to do, but I just want to know what that specific hit is going to be, not just for the next year, but preferably based on trends in the next 5 years. So I want to thank staff in advance for clearly identifying that in the report. Thanks.
All right, thank you. Any further council deliberation before we go to public comment? All right, let's have public comment.
If there are any members of the public that would like to speak on item 14, please line up at the podium, or if you're attending virtually, please use the raise hand feature or dial *9. Seeing more than 10 speakers, we have 90 seconds. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Steven Cortez. I'm employed in the city of Long Beach. I'm here today in support of lowering cannabis taxes through the elimination of cultivation tax. Last year, I began my first job working in the cannabis industry as a bud tender for Catalyst Cannabis Co. Prior to working for Catalyst, I was working as a mental health worker. I recently had the experience of reuniting with the former patient I had cared for. He reminded me that 2 years ago he had crippling pain and was taking 4 Oxycontin and 6 Percocets pills every day. This type of regimen landed him in the local community hospital, not allowing him to play with his grandchildren or do anything really besides sit in a fog. He stated he had given all that stuff up and doesn't take it anymore, and now has a life worth living again through the incorporation of a THC CBD sublingual tincture regimen. I share this story to say that by lowering cannabis taxes down the entire California supply chain, we can begin to address the massive need for safe, affordable retail access, and to better focus on truly serving the will of the people and our well-intentioned local farmers through systemic relief. I want to remind everyone that most California cannabis consumers do not buy cannabis from state licensed shops. According to market observers such as Global Go Analytics, which estimates that illegal cannabis sales in California total $8 billion a year, double the amount of legal sales. And one reason for black market staying power is that many Californians do not have easy access to legal retailers. For example, according to Scott Hackford of Reason, California has only 2 licensed dispensaries for every 100,000 residents, compared to about 18 in Oregon and 14 in Colorado. And thanks to rising inflation in 2021, cultivation taxes jumped at the beginning of 2022, even though the market value of cannabis had declined. All told, taxes increased.
I'm sorry, your 90 seconds has expired.
Oh, I'm sorry. Good.
Thank you.
I just want to quickly say that I urge my city council to investigate the feasibility of appealing the cultivation.
Your time has expired, sir. Thank you.
All right. Hello, Council. My name is Samantha Kohler. I'm a resident of Long Beach and a worker and advocate for the cannabis industry. The industry was here to save me in the middle of the pandemic when I was displaced from my previous career in restaurant marketing. The cannabis industry offered me a chance to survival during those uncertain times with the addition of union representation and employee benefits. I'm here today in support of Agenda Item 14. Unfair taxes are driving the cannabis industry to the point of near collapse, especially our farmers. No other industry in Long Beach is taxed based upon the cultivation of its products. Because of high taxes, millions of pounds of products are being wasted every year due to the inability to compete with the low prices of the black market and overbearing taxes. This means millions of dollars of tax revenue lost that could improve public safety, fix roads, and fund youth community programs. I want to urge my city council to investigate the feasibility of repealing the tax for cannabis cultivation and help save the cannabis industry from the brink of collapse due to these crushing taxes. Thank you, council members Al Austin, Cindy Allen, and Susie Price for supporting this initiative. Thank you for your time.
Good evening, council members. My name is Jose Hernandez, and I work here in the city of Long Beach. So I just want to first of all say that I'm in solidarity and support for with the cultivators and the growers that are the backbone of the cannabis industry. You know, for a long time there was reefer madness. There was a racially, oriented attack against people that would smoke cannabis or be around cannabis. Brown people in particular. That's why they call it marijuana and not cannabis. People are still in jail, literally locked up, while folks are making millions of dollars off of that. You know, it's important to know who was with us and make sure that those folks that, when it was not as politically convenient, that were with us. And so we want to definitely highlight and thank Al Austin, Susie Price, and Cindy Allen for being their champions and supporters of this issue. And a lot of the issue comes to overtaxation. Right now, it's a new industry, and like the oil industry doesn't get this kind of treatment. Other industries, liquor, tobacco, why cannabis? Like, why are we the scapegoats to try to solve all the problems in the state and the city? So I would definitely want to last thing to say is that the woman that spoke earlier about social equity was absolutely right. It's time that we highlight and we streamline the process so that we can have black and brown owned businesses have a seat at the table so that we can make right all the wrongs that happened for years. And
Good evening, City Council. My name is James, and I want to add that the exorbitant taxes are a challenge and seen as another hindrance, which makes it counterproductive to the impact that it has on the community and city overall comprehensively. From the millions it has added as not only a financial stimulus to the city's budget, but also the employment that it provides, the mental and medical health benefits of those citizens residing within the city of Long Beach. At this moment, I would like to issue a call to action to the whole City Council at this moment to delve deeper into the barriers and challenges that hinder its citizens and remove those barriers for all in order to allow its citizens and voters to truly prosper. I'm in full support of Agenda Item 14. Furthermore, it impedes those social equity recipients like the lady who spoke earlier of the opportunity to engage and run a flourishing business, which is her American right. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. First, I'm happy to hear that you're considering getting rid of the cultivation tax. Second, we need to lower the tax on cannabis sales, period. By enforcing these oppressive taxes, not only are you doing a disservice to the social equity program, but you're also doing a disservice to your constituents. The more legal sales, the more tax revenue will be collected. 15% of 14 billion is more than 30% of 7 billion. Simple math, you guys. Thank you.
Good evening, City Council. Thanks, Councilman Austin, for bringing this forward. Councilwoman Price, Councilwoman Allen. I'll do my best in a minute 30. Anybody who knows me, I could go on this topic for an hour. But what's created with this high tax policy is an 80% black market. This is 300,000 jobs that are in the black market that should be in the legal market. All we would have to do is drastically reduce taxes, and these jobs would be legal. This is worker rights issues. Most of these workers, in the retail especially, are unionized. It's women's rights issues. Someone came up here and spoke about women's rights. This is a women's rights issue. I interview everybody we hire, and in the trap market, there's a lot of good people in the black market, but it's very common that the women get creeped on. These are protections that we need in the legal market under OSHA. Also, I'd say this, these local cannabis businesses, I've been to them all. These are not big businesses. There's one that's owned by a guy and his wife and the niece. There's a couple of young kids that are only half built out because of the oppressive tax system. There's another family business that's owned, another couple gentlemen that have both been incarcerated. And the other thing that everybody forgets in this is the patients. They use this as a medication. This is for veterans. This is for patients. This is for customers. And it's for weed, for the people. Let's get the price down.
Hello, Mayor and City Council members. My name is Natasha Brambat. I am a licensed cannabis cultivation operator in the city of Long Beach called Haybud. I am one of the first adult use cultivation licenses to get up and running 3 years ago, and I'm an active member of the LBCA. As an organization, we pushed for tax modernization to broaden the tax base on the supply chain in 2019 and advocated for extended retail business hours in lieu of a retail increase, both with successful outcomes of more tax revenue for the city, increased jobs, and more cannabis business in actual operations. The LBCA supports tax modernization for cannabis cultivation. However, the LBCA asked to include retail tax modernization at both medical and adult use points of sale. We are asking for a feasibility study to return in 60 days with a presentation to the Economic Development Committee following the same process as the past 2 successful cannabis tax modernization implementations. Thank you.
Good evening, City Council. I'm an operator in the District 6 of a cannabis business or manufacturer group. Here today just in support of the tax modernization and lowering the cultivation tax. Thank you, Councilmember Austin, for championing this effort. I just wanted to quickly end it and side with some comments that Vice Mayor Richardson made about also including retail tax modernization study along with this study, and also to champion what Natasha just said. I think it's a good time to include all modernization, not only on cultivation, but on the retail level. If we want everyone to succeed, I think it's the faster we do tax modernization, the more we'll improve sales, and all the changes we've been making together will continue to benefit higher tax income. Thank you.
Hello again. So yes, these taxes that you levy on working class people and small businesses, they're not good. Why is it that you're not pushing to tax the multi-billion-dollar, multinational corporations in Long Beach? You should be taxing them. You shouldn't be taxing the people. And it goes beyond this. But I'd also like to mention, picking up on what the council members and some members of the public said, this is a women's rights issue. It's a health issue. So that's like an interesting angle on it, right? It's a health issue. So what is it that, we the people want in terms of healthcare, right? We want something like a single payer system here. So guess what? Here in Long Beach, we should pioneer something like that. We should pioneer essentially like a public option for this, because to make sure it's truly available and equitable, because, as has been said multiple times, it's about healthcare. So, of course, each individual has their own course and their treatments, and what they want to be doing in their with their healthcare treatment. So, it's time to, of course, repeal all these taxes that you're just profiting from working class people. You're making them more poor by putting this stuff out there. So you got to just, of course, banish it and.
We have Sine Kempe. Your 90 seconds begin now.
Yes, Sine Kempe. Just to be clear, City Clerk, everyone that has to raise their hand in Zoom has to acknowledge their name. So just for decorum's sake, if there's to be public speakers in the chambers, I think that it's appropriate that the same thing is done, just for the sake of the recording and Brown Act. That said, I'm calling in support of the modernization of the tax. I think that this is a welcomed opportunity to facilitate, the growth of a burgeoning industry here in the city, and I'm in complete support of it. That said, and thank you to the sponsors in the offices of Austin and Cindy Allen and Susie Price for bringing that up. To be clear, I would also like, with adjunction to this, in conjunction of this coming into effect, if we could somehow use it as an opportunity to facilitate more African American equity partners within this space, because we're solely underrepresented within this industry. And being one of the most impacted by the war on drugs, it still bothers me that there is not a single one. Actually, there was recently one, thanks to Mr. Trey Sessions and others coming together there. But
Our next speaker is David Judakin. Your 90 seconds begin now. David?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello? Hi, my name is David Judakin. I'm the CEO of Walnut LLC. We're one of the largest cultivators in Long Beach. I'm here today in support of the joint recommendations from Council Members Austin, Price, and Allen. Cannabis cultivation is in dire straits. Wholesale prices have dropped by 50 to 70% in the last year, and our costs have continued to rise. I want to just give you a couple of statistics. We employ about 161 full-time employees in Long Beach, 104 men and 57 women. 77 of our people live in Long Beach, and 106 in the gateway cities. We hire local. We have a young workforce with an average age of 34. All make well over minimum age. Our employees live in 12 of the 15 zip codes in the city of Long Beach. Walnut facilities are less than 1 acre. As comparison, Toyota Auto Body Company, which has 30 acres, has just under twice as many employees as we do, right? We're 1 acre. Cultivation is the first step in the cultivation industry. By eliminating this unfair tax on cultivation, you'll help the legal cannabis industry survive, lowering the cost to all, reducing illegal operations, and ultimately increased revenues to the city with increased legal retail sales. Last year, Walnut paid
Edward Wilson, your time begins now. Please begin.
Did you say my name?
Yes.
Hello. Hi, this is Ed Wilson, Councilman of Signal Hill again. I'm going to finish up with my boss. I'm also the controller for Walnut LLC. And so I'll finish what he was going to say. Last year, Walnut paid $13.02 per square foot, which amounted to $290,400. With this money, we can employ an additional 8 full-time employees. Honorable Council, time is of the essence. There is a cost to everything, even inaction and delay. We'd like the Council to consider 2 changes to the recommendation that we feel will make it even better. 1, have the analysis come back in 30 to 60 days. We all know that great people meet whatever deadline or timeline is assigned, and Long Beach has awesome staff. 2nd, place an immediate suspension on all cultivation tax collection until after the Council makes a final decision. If the Council wishes to vote to maintain the current level of taxes, the city will have ample opportunity to collect the amounts in arrears. However, right now, the cultivation industry is in dire straits. And so we need and would really like some type of immediate action and help. 90 days, 6 months may be too late. I want to thank you for this opportunity to speak, and I'm available to answer any questions.
Our next speaker is Jake No-Till Kings. Your time begins now.
Hi, my name is Jake. I'm a licensed cultivator here in the city of Long Beach. And we're a small craft operation, and Long Beach has a lot of small operators. If we are able to repeal the cultivation tax, this will have a huge impact on a lot of small operators that run as like owner operated businesses. That's what we are. And I'm just in full support of it. I appreciate the council for bringing it forward, and it would really do a lot, especially for the small operators like us. And Long Beach has a lot of them. And so I try to speak for all of us and say that we do support this. And thank you very much for all your time.
Our last speaker is Olivia Sweeney. Your time begins now.
Hi, my name is Olivia Sweeney. I'm a resident of downtown Long Beach and I work in the industry as a receptionist. I'm here tonight in support of agenda item 14 because thousands of jobs would be lost if the cannabis stores, growers, and distributors go out of business. As my colleagues here have mentioned, many of these jobs are union jobs with health benefits, including mine here at Catalyst Cannabis, which has provided me the support I needed post-COVID. I urge my city council to investigate the feasibility of repealing the tax for cannabis cultivation. Thank you, council members, Al Austin, Susie Price, and Cindy Allen for leading this initiative. Thank you.
That concludes public comment.
All right, let's go ahead and have our roll call vote on this item.
Actually, Mr. Vice Mayor, I have a couple comments?
Go for it.
Thank you. So I want to thank all the speakers for coming out. There was a few comments that were mentioned that I think it's really important for us to acknowledge where we are at this point. We talked about the historical context of this topic, and I think it's important to note that we're in a much different place today when we're talking about cannabis than we were 4, 5, or 6 years ago. And a lot of that has to do with the legal operators who were provided the opportunity to operate in the city and what they have done to educate everybody about the legitimate parts of the industry. I think that's been critical. The credibility that's been established there, the understanding that we wouldn't be getting a proposal in front of us that wasn't well thought out, that wasn't prudent. I'm really proud of the prudence that the city has taken on this issue. I know it's been probably slow for some people, but it has allowed us to be able to be very deliberate at every stage with every decision that we've made based on actual data and practical application. I think that's really important. So I want to acknowledge that we're at a much different place today than we were years ago, and where we are today in the discussions that we're having, the foundation of all of that was built by the business leaders in the city who have established cannabis operations and demonstrated the industry and what the impacts of the industry can be, and really done their part to mitigate any concerns. And I just want to take a moment to appreciate all of those people, because I know for me, you're never fixed in time with an opinion. You develop and you grow and you learn and you allow yourself the education. And I'm grateful for the people who have called us into that conversation and demonstrated credibility. There's no way I think we would be looking at an item like this today without the history of work with these partners that industry leaders, partners that we've had. So I want to thank you guys for that.
All right, any additional council comment?
I'll just close and say thank you to my colleagues. I want to thank the many public commenters who came out. It sounds like it's unanimous in support of moving forward, at least from the public comment standpoint. And I do think that there are opportunities, and this is not the first that we are going to hear about taking another look at our tax structure for cannabis. It should happen here on the local level, but it should also happen in Sacramento, which I expect to be happening as well. And these conversations happening simultaneously, I think, will make for a better industry, a more robust legal industry here in the state of California and in Long Beach. Thanks.
All right, let's go to a roll call vote, please.
District 1?
Aye.
District 2?
Aye.
District 3?
Aye.
District 4?
Aye.
District 5?
Aye.
District 6?
Aye.
District 8?
Aye.
District 9?
Aye.
Motion is carried 8-0.
Thank you. 15, please.
Report from Economic Development, recommendation to authorize city manager to sign petition and subsequent ballot relating to city-owned properties located within the boundaries of the downtown Long Beach Property and Business Improvement District, Districts 1 and 2.
Okay, I recognize Councilwoman Zendejas with her hand up for a motion and Councilwoman Allen for a second. Councilwoman Zendejas. Yes.
Actually, Mayor, Vice Mayor, I have to recuse myself because I own two properties in the PBID. I'll be signing off.
Okay, thank you. So we need a second on this. I'll second it. Councilwoman Zendejas.
Do we have a presentation?
Oh, that's right. Staff report. Excuse me.
Yes.
Is there a brief staff report?
Yes, Eric Romero from Economic Development can give a brief staff report.
Thank you.
All right. Good evening, Mayor and members of the City Council. My name is Eric Romero, and I'm the Business Development Officer in the Economic Development Department. I would like to start by providing you a brief background on the Downtown PBID renewal history. The Downtown PBID was established by the City Council in 1998 for a 5-year term. It was renewed for the first time in 2003 for a 10-year term. It was renewed for a second time in 2012 for an additional 10-year term, and the Downtown PBID is now up for its third 10-year renewal. Per state law, 10 years is the maximum term for a PBID that already surpassed its initial 5-year term. The PBID renewal process, which has been led by the Downtown Long Beach Alliance, was informed by a strategic planning process that included interviews, roundtables, and an online survey completed by more than 500 downtown stakeholders. In the next 10-year term, the Downtown PBID revenue will support a more robust clean and safe program, programs that address and assist downtown's unhoused population, economic development programs that support small businesses and focus on business attraction, marketing and special events, and beautification and place enhancement activities. If the Downtown PBID is renewed, the estimated total annual cost to the city for the fiscal year 2023 assessment is $785,156. Of that total amount, $220,000 more or less will be paid by a private property owner that manages city property in downtown. The remaining city assessment is $564,672. The recommendation before council today is to authorize the city manager to sign the petition and subsequent ballot for city-owned properties in support of renewing the Downtown PBID. That concludes my staff report. Thank you.
All right, thank you for your staff report. Councilwoman Zendejas.
Thank you so much, Vice Mayor. And thank you, Eric Romero, for that very good presentation and also for all the work that you've been doing on this. I think that, let me get, our downtown area is a very lively and fun area for everyone in the city, but in particularly for our youth. I think that for many years, we've learned that our key criteria to ensuring our city continues to prosper rest in the ability to keep our young adults living and working in Long Beach way beyond high school and college graduates, especially in the downtown area. We need them to stay more importantly, we'd love for them to want to stay in our downtown area. In that same sense, and for many other reasons as well, it is very important that we care for our downtown area. Establishing this area as a property and business improvement district back in 1994 has helped us get to a point where we can count on having additional services in maintenance, public safety, and marketing in this area. These are services that are very much needed and that help us keep a clean and attractive area for our residents, for our youth, our young adults, and even for our tourists and visitors as well. However, I do have a couple questions that I would like staff to answer if possible. I know that one of the main concerns with this PBID in particularly for residents and business owners has been the 30% plus increase. If staff can answer this, how will this increase in assessment impact our local businesses during this recovery phase we are in?
Thank you, Councilwoman. I'm happy to answer that question. I do want to acknowledge, as you mentioned, that the property assessment rates for the downtown PBID, if renewed, are projected to increase by an average of 34.5%. And the increase is really driven by a few different factors. So through, again, the outreach that was completed through the strategic planning process and the PBID renewal process, there was a request for additional services, which include expanded sidewalk pressure washing services, increased tree trimming and plant maintenance, the hiring of a homeless outreach manager to collaborate with social service organizations to support people experiencing homelessness, the hiring of a downtown business navigator to provide better wraparound support services for both new and existing small businesses, and also an acknowledgement that there's a need to increase pay for a clean and safe team to assist with both retaining and attracting talent in a competitive labor market. So for those reasons, the property assessment rate is recommended to increase. Certainly, there will be additional costs that are taken on by both property owners and business owners. But I think really here that the case in terms of the downtown PBID is to leverage collectively a lot of different resources to further invest and support the downtown to both improve beautification and the quality of life and have a vibrant urban downtown center, which really is the benefits of downtown PBIDs and PBIAs generally.
Great, thank you so much, Eric. Also, could you share with us, so the community can know, some of the outreach that has been done on this PBID?
Absolutely. So while a strategic planning process isn't required in advance to leading up to a downtown PBID renewal or a PBID renewal in general, the Downtown Long Beach Alliance did decide to lead a comprehensive strategic planning process that again included a variety of one-on-one interviews, focus groups, roundtables, and an online survey to gauge input directly from property owners, from business owners and residents that are ultimately impacted and supported by the services that are funded by the downtown PBID revenue. For the online survey alone, it included over 500 responses from downtown stakeholders. Additionally, the strategic planning process was also implemented under the guidance of a 35-member committee that included property owners, business owners, and residents, and of course also included the Downtown Long Beach Alliance Board of Directors, which again includes property owners, business owners, and members of the community.
Thank you, Eric, again. I think that's very important for the community to know about the outreach that has been happening. I want to say that I know that in this particular item that we have in front of us today is so that we can approve to be as a member of this PBID that we can approve to sign the petition going forward to be part of this PBID. I think that's also very important, and maybe you might be able to elaborate a little bit more on that.
Yes, I'd be happy to. So through the PBID, both formation and renewal process, property owners that are ratepayers into the PBID are responsible for ultimately vocalizing their support or their being against the PBID renewal or formation. So all property owners in the petition phase, which is the phase that we're currently in for the downtown PBID renewal, all property owners of record that own property in the downtown PBID that would be subject to a PBID property assessment receive a petition. Of those petitions, over 50% of all the property owners responsible for assessments in the PBID have to return a petition in support of renewing the PBID in order to enter the next phase of the PBID renewal process. The City of Long Beach is a large stakeholder and property owner in the downtown PBID. So the recommendation today and the decision in front of you today is to really authorize the city manager to sign the petition for city-owned properties in favor of renewing the downtown PBID, assuming that over 50% of property owners, based on the weight of the assessment, return their petitions in favor of the PBID renewal, then that would trigger the next phase of the renewal process.
Thank you. Could you also explain what it would be like if, or what would happen if it didn't meet that threshold?
Yes, that's a
In
really
other
good.
words,
Sure.
go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, so if there is a timeline to renew the P-bid. Currently, the timeline that we're working toward is really by summer 2022, by August 2022. And so it's important right now to secure, all of enough support in the petition process to renew the P-bid. If that support is not secured, the P-bid renewal process would not continue. So again, the recommendation before you today is really to authorize the city manager to support the P-bid renewal through ultimately filling out the petition in support of P-bid renewal for city-owned properties.
Thank you. And lastly, I was wondering if you could express to the community how much of the first district is now in this P-bid, the Downtown Long Beach Association Alliance?
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't have all of the details on all of the parcels in front of me right now, but I can say the bulk of the downtown P-bid is in the first council district now. Yeah.
Thank you. I'd also like to take this moment to give a shout out to the red shirts from DLPA. There are safety ambassadors who are amazing and do a great job out in our downtown area, as well as the clean team. I know I personally use the safety ambassadors a lot to go from point A to point B, especially at night when I'm exploring the district. So I just wanted to say thank you to all of the safety ambassadors for all the wonderful work that you do and for always helping us out as well with our people experiencing homelessness, and for always being so compassionate to them as well and trying to provide and help them find services. I know that your job is huge, and I just wanted to take a moment and acknowledge them. So thank you very much.
All right, thank you. I'll offer my comments in my second here. We should absolutely, as a city, vote in support of the renewal of the P-bid. In terms of the additional cost, I think it's important to, and thank you, Eric, for underscoring that the goal for this enhancement is to have a sort of more capacity to deal with nuisances in the area, to help keep the area safe, help make sure that we can navigate people around that are experiencing homelessness to the right services. And I think that's incredibly important in our downtown, that we have that local touch from our downtown Long Beach associates. And I think it plays really well with some of our strategies, our local sort of non-police led crisis responses around homelessness. I think in order to really make an impact, we're going to have to see the P-bid step up and the city step up to see a real difference. And so I know that that's not cheap. I know that's also what the downtown businesses are asking for and what the downtown residents are asking for. So the city needs to be publicly supportive of this, not only just in our vote, but we should publicly, talk about our partnership and the things that we're going to do with this enhancement to help make sure that our downtown is clean and safe. And so I'm happy to second here. I'm going to ask if there are any other council comments so I can take a list. Okay, hearing none, let's hear a public comment.
If there are any members of the public that would like to speak, please line up at the podium, or if you're attending virtually, please use the raise hand feature or dial *9. This is for item 15. Your time begins now.
Thank you. Good evening, Honorable Vice Mayor and members of the City Council. My name is Austin Matoyer. I'm the Economic Development and Policy Manager for the DLBA and the DLBA Project Lead for the renewal of the Downtown Property-Based Improvement District. First, I'd like to thank City staff and Councilwoman Mary Zendejas and Councilwoman Cindy Allen in your assistance in helping to engage the downtown community. And I'd like to also reflect, as stated by staff, that our process for renewing the property-based improvement district really began back in January of 2021 with the convening of the strategic planning process with residents, property owners, and small business owners. And during that process, we came out with 5 key themes to address within the new property-based improvement district: safety and security within the downtown, cleanliness within the downtown, connecting our unhoused population with available resources, addressing the storefront economy and vacancies and assisting our small businesses, and addressing connectivity issues between various neighborhoods. Since the start of the petition process, we've met with nearly 50 property owners in one-on-one meetings, ranging from nonprofits, large commercial property owners, small commercial property owners, and residential property owners. We've engaged residents through virtual and in-person forums, and will continue to engage the community through both virtual and in-person events, partnering with neighborhood associations and HOAs to connect to downtown residents. Finally, I'd like to just briefly discuss, since the PBID renewal only happens every 10 years, I think it's important to provide historical context of where we are in the renewal process today and where we were at in 2012. Today, March 15th, we come before City Council with a collection of petitions that represent 21% of assessments. In 2012, the request for authorization did not occur until May 1st, and petitions represented 19% of assessments. Furthermore, we have nearly doubled our collection from residents in favor of renewal, with 2-to-1 in comparison to the 2012. Renewing the PBID is tough work, but we have been diligent in our process, method, and outreach, and I believe we are on the right track. Thank you for the opportunity to speak on this item.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and council members. My name is Rhonda Love, and I'm a business owner operating in downtown Long Beach. First, thank you, City Council, for the opportunity to speak tonight on this agenda item regarding the Downtown Property-Based Improvement District. As a downtown business owner, I'd like to express my support for the renewal of the PBID and the continuation of the clean and safe services that the district has provided for over the last 25 years. In addition, the DLBA's economic development programs and special events have helped tremendously in creating an active, vibrant downtown for our small business community. The special events supported by the PBID and produced by the DLBA and the community generate visitors to the downtown businesses and help us to activate our neighborhoods. Events like Shop Small Saturday, Taste of Downtown, the New Year's Eve and at the waterfront have all helped to showcase our unique neighborhoods to residents and visitors, tourists alike. I also appreciate the PBID for its broad economic development initiatives that assist businesses in underrepresented communities. The Downtown PACE program, the Entrepreneur Education Services, and the Google Workshops, in the collaboration with the community partners, have had a direct and lasting impact on the small businesses in downtown. Most recently, DLBA's storefront recovery grants helped small businesses that were victims of recent break-ins to offset their property damage cost. Since the formation of the PBID back in 1998, the downtown has grown into a healthier, cleaner, and safer community for all to live, work, thrive, and visit in the area. I'd like to see those services continue with the PBID and the DLBA. Thank you again for your time and for allowing me to express my support of the PBID, and I hope the City Council will help to ensure the continuation of the PBID by showing your support. Thank you.
Greetings. My name is Sanai Kinfei, 6th District resident. I actually rode down here from my business, which is in the downtown area, just because I think it's vital to hear a, perspective outside of what is the norm. In the 150 block radius of the DLBA, there are only 9 black businesses within them. I'm one of them. I think Miss Rhonda's another one. I could list them because there's that few of them. They're actually supposedly since the last renewal 10 years ago of 2012, there's been a net decline. I think as a private entity, I can't tell people what to do, who to advocate for. But with respect to something like the DLBA, which is earmarked a percentage of property taxes and stewardship of a lot of the fees that come out of the city, I think both as a taxpayer and as a business within the space, I think it's fair to express the disappointment with respect to how I personally think things are run. I think with regards to the DLBA, I would not have a problem necessarily with the renewal of it if I felt that African Americans were viewed as equitable stakeholders with respect to what the future of the downtown looks like. I know on the housing end, a lot of our businesses. On the housing end, we're seeing less of a focus on younger families coming in, just post downtown plan. And I think with respect to the strategic plan, which I've read and I've attended a couple of the economic development commission meetings, and I just keep abreast with these things. I don't necessarily know if this is a ample partner to steward some of these fees. But with respect to this moment of being able to speak, I hope that it can be used as an opportunity to kind of engage with the public and how can we bring more diverse businesses within the area, because as it stands, the DLBA is not doing a great job with that. But hopefully within the future, that's something that we could see some more energy moving towards. Thank you. And just to be clear, when I say businesses, I mean storefronts, not holidays or cultural events. Those aren't businesses. Those are just moments in time, ephemeral moments in time. Thank you.
Mayor, council members, and staff, I'm Brock Coward, COO for the Downtown Long Beach Alliance. It's a pleasure to be with you in person this evening and being able to share some of our efforts thus far to renew the property-based improvement district. The downtown has been described as the city's heart, an economic engine driving $1 billion in sales in tourism, hospitality, retail, and personal services, delivered in many cases by local businesses throughout the city and resident workers as well. For most visitors, tourists, conventioneers, shoppers, the downtown will be their first impression of the city and its offerings. We at the DLBA often think of the downtown as the city's front porch, its welcome mat to any visitor coming to our city. And over the last 25 years, DLBA has had the honor of maintaining this community in partnership with city departments and property owners, community organizations as well, while serving as a steward of the PBID funding. The statistics are incredible over those 10 years. In this current PBID term, DLBA's clean and safe teams have annually averaged more than 75,000 pounds of litter and green waste removal from gutters and sidewalks, 4,000 instances of graffiti and stickers removed from poles and benches and electrical boxes, 8,000 directions given to visitors, tourists, and residents, 5,000 instances of information being shared about parking, transit, hotels, events, and businesses as well. That's every year on average. We've also had several partnerships with city departments that have resulted in job training programs and diversionary programs for the unhoused. These are the services being delivered daily, weekly, and annually to residents and commercial property owners that benefit every downtown stakeholder and in turn give us pride in maintaining the city's front porch. We appreciate the opportunity to be with you tonight, and we look forward to hearing your support for this item. Thank you so much.
Deborah Fixon, your time begins now.
Good evening. My name is Deborah Fixon, and I am the chair-elect of the Downtown Long Beach Alliance Board of Directors, and I manage the property at Shoreline Village. I want to thank the City Council for the opportunity to speak on this agenda item tonight regarding the Downtown Property-Based Improvement District. As a representative for the property owner, I cannot stress enough the importance of the PBID and the services provided by the DLBA, especially over the last 2 years. The DLBA provides programs that have proven to be vital for our downtown through the pandemic. The proposed renewal plan includes an expansion of the PBID boundary along the promenade in front of the convention center and the waterfront, enabling the safety ambassadors to engage conventioners and visitors in the hospitality services while addressing the security and quality of life issues as they arise. The rest of downtown will be essential to its recovery, and DLBA will play a central role in supporting this goal. Since the formation of the PBID in 1998, downtown Long Beach has grown a healthier, cleaner, safer community for all that live, work, and visit there. The next chapter of DLBA is being written through the hard work of its volunteer board, committee members, and staff. I'd like to see those services continue with the PBID and the DLBA. Thank you again for allowing me to express my support of the PBID, and I hope the City Council will help ensure the continuation of the PBID by showing your support tonight. Thank you.
Deborah Kahugli, your time begins now.
Okay. Good evening. My name is Deborah. I go by Deb Kelly, and I am a resident in downtown Long Beach for probably the past 11 years. I want to thank the City Council for the opportunity to speak tonight on the agenda of regarding the PBID, which is the Downtown Property-Based Improvement District. As a resident, I would like to express my support for the renewal of the PBID and the continuation of the clean and safe services that the district has provided for the past 25 years. The safety ambassadors, they're very helpful. They're providing direction and everything for the visitors and the residences here. They also offer friendly escorts anywhere within the district. I'm also a realtor and a local realtor here, and I want to testify that every single person that I sell a home to in this area, I do convey to them about this. And they're not turned off by it. They're actually impressed by it. So this PBID, from a realtor standpoint, it does add value to property here. The value that residents have for it, if this goes away, it would not be good. But since the formation of the PBID and since '98, the downtown, I've seen it grow in a healthier, cleaner, and safer community for all that live here, work here, and especially visit here. I'd like to see those services to continue on with the PBID and the DLBA. Thank you for letting me express my support for the PBID, and I hope the City Council will help ensure the continuation of this by showing your support. Thank you.
Would the caller with the last four digits 6973 please unmute? Your time begins now.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Great. Honorable Vice Mayor Richardson, council members, thank you for giving me and others the opportunity to address this important item that will really shape the downtown for years to come. I'm Laura Catavona. I'm the volunteer board chair of the Downtown Long Beach Alliance, the DLBA. I'm here to speak in support of the Property-Based Improvement District, the PBID renewal, as well as really just to show my support for staff who've been working tirelessly to deliver the great services and programs of the DLBA to the community while managing the PBID renewal. It's a lot of work. In addition to being a volunteer, I'm also a 15-year resident. I love the downtown. And the types of investments residents make in the downtown are very different than other investments. We're buying homes for the first time. We're raising families. We're retiring here. We're building our lives here in the downtown and making great friends with our neighbors and business owners. I really can't imagine my neighborhood, our neighborhood, over the next 10 years continue to revitalize and grow without the DLBA. As staff and my fellow board members detailed, many of us are familiar with the organization through the grants and workshops provided to small businesses, the marketing support provided, the special event support provided to the community, the projects to enhance and connect our neighborhood. But as Councilwoman Sendejas mentioned, most visible, are our clean and safe team, our red shirts, our red team. We see them around on foot, on bike, on segways, and I just really can't imagine our neighborhood without them. And, you know, let's be honest, the last 2 years have been very difficult. At the start of the pandemic, when the state was locked down, who were the first people I saw on the street every day, still working? They were the red team, picking up trash, pressure washing the sidewalks, helping those experiencing homelessness to direct them to services, and honestly, just checking on our neighborhood. The new management plan provides expanded clean and safe services and enhancements that include a homeless outreach role, which is very needed to be that bridge between, you know, our stakeholders and the city and our social services. The clean and safe team, they really fill a need that wouldn't otherwise be met. And the organization's at an exciting point with the search for a new leader of the organization. And when selected, I'm very excited to see this new leader in partnership with others implement the new 10-year plan built on the strategic planning the board and the community developed this past year. So thank you to the city for your support over the last several months. And
That concludes public comment.
All right, let's go ahead to a roll call vote, please.
District 1?
Aye.
District 3?
Aye.
District 4?
Aye.
District 5?
Aye.
District 6?
Aye.
District 8? District 9?
Aye.
Motion is carried 6-0.
Thank you. All right, I know folks have been waiting a long time for this item. Let's hear item number 16, please.
Report from Health and Human Services, recommendation to receive and file the citywide strategic plan on veterans. Citywide.
All right, I'm happy to make the motion on this item. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Price. Let's go ahead and hear the staff presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. We're really excited to be here tonight. There's been an amazing amount of work with our Veterans Commission and the community on a Veterans Strategic Plan, and we're happy to present that tonight, including many members in the audience who have come to give their input and celebrate, as well as the chair of our Veterans Commission here. So I will turn it over to Kelly Colopy, who will guide us through the staff report.
Good evening, Vice Mayor and council members. Thank you for the opportunity to share our Veterans Strategic Plan. The origin of this item was a council item in November of 2017, which was brought to us by the council, by Vice Mayor Richardson and the Councilman Uranga, and as it was approved by the entire City Council. The plan has been a while in the making, as our Veterans Commission Program Manager, Gina Overholt, who is here with us today, was reassigned during early COVID to run our COVID Resource Call Center. She's back with us now, and she's sitting here tonight to share the plan. Gina's led a big effort to gather information from our veterans community about their priorities, strengths, and needs. These efforts will be outlined tonight. But first, I'd like to turn the time to introduce Ryan Antes. He's the chair of our Veterans Commission, and he's going to say a few words, and he's at the microphone at the front.
Honorable Vice Mayor, ladies and gentlemen of the City Council, my name is Ryan Antes. I'm a combat veteran of both Iraq and Afghanistan, and have the honor of serving as the chair of the city's Veterans Commission. The commissioners and I wanted to thank you all for the opportunity to prepare and present this plan, which we hope will serve as both a call to arms and a battle plan for ways to make our city a better place for its veterans. Our commission is a diverse cross-section of the city encompassing nearly all branches of service. Jesse Blanco served in the Navy, Ricky Fernandez, Mike Shaknovich, and Lance Santiago are former Marines. Sylvia Contreras joined the commission to honor her husband Emilio's service in the Air Force. Josh Smith, who goes by Smitty, Juanita Dopplemore, Gus Orozco, and I all served in the Army. When we set out with the aid of our various community stakeholders to research the needs of the veterans, we quickly saw that the clamor for attention and funding, it was way too easy to paint a rather uncharitable picture of who our veteran community is. The focus was always on the needs and challenges faced by our veterans, and seldom on the value veterans bring to our communities. We are not a plague of locusts. We are one and all the men and women who answered our country's call to duty and served proudly. Many of us want nothing more than to find a place to continue to serve our communities now that our time in the military is done. Veterans are volunteers who bring a hard-won persistence, dedication, and leadership to all challenges. The support for veterans' causes and initiatives can often seem fragile and superficial. We get a lot of thank you for your service, yellow ribbons, and waving flags. While many of us appreciate these gestures, it's a paltry salve for the physical and emotional scars that are the cost of service for so many. In the end, thoughts and prayers offer scant comfort to the starving or the afflicted. We know that Long Beach is a city that can and will do more for those who have so selflessly defended our freedoms. We hope that what's presented tonight strikes home with everyone and that the city will consider implementing the strategies we have proposed so that Long Beach might become the gold standard for how to build and maintain a thriving veteran community. Thank you guys for your time.
Thank you, Commissioner. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Gina, and she's going to share a little bit about the methodologies and sources of data.
Thank you, Mayor Garcia and council members, for having us this evening. The first slide. Okay. Our city has a proud, nearly century-long military history, and today, nearly 17,000 veterans call Long Beach home. In our strategic planning process, we worked to meet veterans where they are. We reached out to veterans from different service areas, to leaders of veteran-serving nonprofit organizations, and elected officials to conduct structured and informal interviews. We dug into demographic data from sources including the American Community Survey, census data, the LA County Coroner Department, and the VA Long Beach. We met veterans where they are, literally, holding interactive community input sessions that engaged nearly 200 veterans. These were held at Century Villages at Cabrillo, where more than 600 formerly homeless veterans live in transitional and permanent housing, a VA town hall, Long Beach City College's Veteran Services Office, and the American Legion Post 496. We leaned on our own expertise and knowledge. The commissioners understand the local programs, resources, services, activities, and events currently available, and the organizations and agencies involved.
We listened and learned, synthesized and analyzed the data, and came to agreement on 5 common goals and strategies to support each of them. The first goal focuses on truly recognizing our veterans as valued members of our community who are regularly celebrated and honored. While veterans want to be acknowledged, what we heard loud and clear is that veterans want to be of service. One quote, "I don't want to be honored with hoopla, I want a job to do." The main focus of this goal is to bring veterans and non-veterans together to celebrate veterans in new ways, ranging from storytelling to volunteerism and other creative opportunities. As part of this goal, the veterans proposed sort of a light pole banners program, an interactive digital map that tells the stories behind the veteran-related monuments and public arts and parks named for veterans throughout the city, and a veterans work detail program offering volunteer service opportunities for veterans to carry out beach cleanups, park improvement projects, and other similar activities. For goal 2, we frequently heard that the transition from military to civilian life is difficult and has not been done well, which leads us to this goal 2, that veterans serving organizations and agencies need to coordinate well to ensure that veterans successfully transition from military service to civilian life. We seek to establish mechanisms to connect and coordinate organizations that provide transition-related resources and services. The city is well positioned to lead a summit and continuing activities to bring these organizations together to begin and further engage in the conversations. The Commission identified employment, workforce development, education, and mental health and physical health as key focus areas for improving veterans' access to resources and services. We also heard from many that accessing support services across different needs and organizations is difficult. It is not currently well coordinated. Goal 3 seeks to address this by working to ensure veterans can easily access the resources and services they need in the areas of housing, education, employment, mental and physical health and well-being, post-transition, and throughout their lifetimes. We seek to establish mechanisms to connect and coordinate organizations that provide the resources and services throughout the entire lifetime and not just in the space of transition. The city is well positioned to lead a summit and additional opportunities that bring organizations together to align and coordinate these service models, as well as during the times of transition. This needs to be an ongoing effort. We want to ensure services and supports are accessible to underserved veterans, such as our LGBTQ, women, seniors, low income, and veterans with disabilities. We want to bring together organizations and agencies that focus on veterans' mental health and suicide prevention to explore options for improving access for veterans under age 40, as we see that veterans under age 40 have suicide rates nearly 3 times higher as for those of the same age who are non-veterans. This is so very concerning, and our systems are not yet in place to support these young folks. As one of the community input sessions, a leader in the veteran serving organization remarked, "It was refreshing to engage with other service providers, and we need to communicate with each other more often." We heard many times that veterans want to connect with service providers, and service providers want to connect with veterans. Yet there really is a disconnect between the two. The Commission determined that neither establishing the city as a direct service provider nor creating another website would bridge this disconnect. One quote, "Websites connect people to information, not to people. They can point you in the right direction, but they still have to dig around and get connected to an actual person who can help you with what you need." The Health Department has access, or has experience doing this very thing. We run a resource line with people who pick up the phone and help and support people. We also have a referral technology platform called Unite Us that was implemented during COVID. We can leverage and build upon these very resources to serve our veterans. The Unite Us platform allows service providers to join it, to refer veterans to the right resource providers, and to track outcomes. More importantly than the technology platform are our dedicated people that support the platform. These are the people with deep knowledge of the veterans community and local service providers. There are many organizations to serve veterans and provide them with access to transitional and permanent housing. Service providers include U.S. Vets, Century Villages of Cabrillo, the American Gold Star Manor. These providers also coordinate with each other to shelter veterans through the city's multi-service center and our VASH voucher program. And yet we know that 8.6% of our homeless population in Long Beach continue to be veterans. The fourth goal is that veterans who are precariously housed or who are experiencing homelessness have access to affordable housing and the supportive services they need to remain housed. Quality affordable housing continues to be challenging for veterans in the city, which can lead to homelessness. We do have access to transitional and permanent housing opportunities for veterans experiencing homelessness through VASH vouchers and other initiatives. However, our goal is to ensure that there's housing and services to prevent veteran homelessness in total. We want to coordinate with the city's housing and homeless services providers to make and support policy recommendations that strengthen the availability and the affordability of veterans' housing and prevent homelessness, and to also take a strong stand to support innovative strategies, programs, and policies to reduce barriers to housing veterans. And finally, we do acknowledge that there are a number of organizations and programs already existing in the city for veterans. This includes our Veterans Resource Center, which is at the libraries. It includes Workforce Development Services through Economic Development Department, the VA Long Beach, which is our regional hospital for healthcare services for 50% of Long Beach veterans and veterans from other cities. And we have our Veterans Commission, which has one half-time person who is sitting next to me, and a strong network of relationships with city departments and service providers. What veterans need goes beyond this and to all the things we've been talking about. Veterans are looking for a single place to turn, a place that coordinates service providers and bridges the gaps, that connects veterans to services and resources they need. Goal 5 is to establish an official Office of Veteran Support in the Health and Human Services Department to serve as the infrastructure to carry out these goals, objectives, and strategies outlined in the strategic plan. It would plan, oversee, and manage city's efforts to uplift and support veterans including being able to coordinate citywide efforts, connecting veterans to resources and services, really engaging our local agencies, working on employment, job training, career building opportunities, building out the Unitas referral platform for veterans, establishing the worm line. The list is long. You'll see them in the slides, but it's really, it's a key space and interest of our Veterans Commission is to have an official office. So with that, I thank you for the opportunity to share the Veteran Strategic Plan and for your support for this Veterans Commission. Our Veteran Commission members have been truly committed to the development of this plan and to honoring and supporting our veterans across the city. A huge thank you to all of you who are here tonight. With that, I'll close the presentation and we are open for questions.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Kelly. Well, let's just hear it for this incredible job all our veterans have done. Let's just, round of applause for this incredible work. Gina has been really incredible at, the pandemic might have slowed the process down a little bit, but she's stayed on top of it. I want to recognize the service of all of our Veterans Affairs Commission. You stepped up. I mean, we had formed the commission, and it was, I think, not only a year or two when we asked you to step forward to do this. So Chair Ryan, Smitty, Vice Chair, thank you so much. My friends, Juanita and Gus, Sylvia, Mike Shaknovich, and the whole commission, thank you so much for your hard work. When I'm very pleased with this result. Let's just start with that. I think the 5 goals make a whole lot of sense. Honoring the veterans, that's how this conversation started. It was a discussion about how best to honor our veterans. We did 5 focus groups with about 20 veteran serving organizations and came up with a little plan called LB Honors Vets. And one of the main recommendations was to have our newly formed Veterans Commission lead a process to create a strategic plan on how to best serve our veterans. That was back in February 2017. And we come full circle is March 2022. And so that's what you've done. You had an incredible process that is, super thoughtful. And I think these recommendations make a lot of sense. So 1, honor our veterans. 2, better support the transition. 3, improve access to resources like housing and mental health. That suicide statistic was staggering that we heard tonight. Housing, and then create a one-stop shop and Office of Veteran Support. All of those make so much sense. So I wanted to just take a moment and thank all of you for answering the call. You've answered the call to serve our country, and now you've answered the call to serve our city. And because of your work, we know that veterans across our city are gonna have a better experience. I don't want this to just be a plan that lands on a shelf. I wanna see this get funded and implemented and help guide decisions that we're making. A lot of these things make a lot of sense. I love the platform idea, the digital platform. I think it was called Unite Us. Whoever's idea that was, great idea to use technology as a means to help navigate people help our veterans to navigate. So, the 9th District and the 7th District brought this because the 9th had a lot of history with serving and recognizing our veterans. And the 7th District's home to Century Villages at Cabrillo, which is probably the largest veteran serving campus in the city. And so it was really those people on the ground, our Long Beach Veterans Commission, Veterans Day Parade Committee, Century Villages Cabrillo, a lot of those organizations that helped drive this to happen. And so, as a son of a veteran, I thank you. And on behalf of our city council, I thank you for this work. And we're gonna make sure that all of this continues to be implemented. So I'm happy to make the motion to receive and file. The second was Councilmember Price. Let's take a list. I know that our council is gonna speak up. Let's take a list of who wants to speak on this. I see Councilwoman Zendejas. Who else?
I would like to speak. Sorrow, Councilmember Sorrow.
Okay. Sorrow, anyone else?
Supernaw would like to speak.
Okay, Supernaw. Okay, so we'll go to Councilwoman Price.
Thank you very much, and thank you for those of you who stayed as long as you did tonight for this item. I really, really appreciate it. This is a fantastic report, so I want to thank staff for this, and I especially want to thank the dedication to former Councilman Val Lurch. I think that was just incredibly touching to see, and I want to thank everybody for making sure that that happened. This item did come to council, and we unanimously, every single one of us who were there then, supported the item because we all appreciate and want to thank you for your service and the great work that you have done on behalf of our nation. I happen to be married to a veteran, and he tells me all the time, stop telling people I'm a veteran. I haven't earned the title the way some people have earned the title. And so for those who are combat veterans and who are joined us tonight and who spoke tonight, thank you for your service, every single one of you. I think I'm reminded every day now when I watch the news at night about what it means to stand up for justice, what it means to stand up for truth, what it means to stand up for democracy, and what it means to fight for what you believe is right. And every single person who serves on this commission has done that. The other thing that I think is really amazing about the commission, and I hear it all the time being married to a veteran, there's always a lot of banter when veterans get together about different branches. I love the unity in our commission. I love the unity of everyone coming together for a common good, and the spirit of service back to the city is just really phenomenal. The data in this brochure, or not brochure, this book that we received is really fascinating to me. I did not know the number of veterans living in poverty throughout the city of Long Beach. I didn't have that information before, and specifically in my zip code, just to see what a huge number of people are living in poverty and experiencing unemployment just in my district. And I'm wondering, I want to turn it over to staff, is that because of the outpatient clinic at VA? Is that where that number is coming from? Because that can't seem to be enough of a number to substantiate these kinds of percentages. I'm wondering, is it throughout the zip code, or is it just related to the VA?
Whether it's related to the VA hospital being located in your zip code?
Well, because of the outpatient. So is that registering as their zip code of residence?
Not. You're saying that maybe the people that are using are counted in the statistic, right?
Okay, I'm just looking at your statistics here, and it says this correlates with the location of a VA community-based outpatient clinic.
Oh, that's not it. That's in
90810.
90810.
90814. Right? I'm just curious where that statistic comes from, whether it's basically the number of residents, right, who live below the federal poverty line. It's 17.9% in 90814. And I'm wondering if that's because the outpatient facility at the VA hospital has the residents registered as 90814, or whether that population is spread throughout 90814. I'm just trying to figure out where the need might be in terms of equity and access.
It is spread across the entire zip code.
Got it. Okay. Thank you. I appreciate that.
And this is census data, so the clinic may be a factor, but it's registering the people that live in that zip code.
Okay, that's really fascinating information. I think a lot of times when we talk about income disparities and equity and access, a lot of times there's assumptions made that that's not maybe an issue in that zip code. So this is really interesting information. I'm so grateful you brought it to my attention, because I think that really elevates the conversation. So thank you.
All right, next we have Councilwoman Zendejas.
Yes, thank you. I wanted to say thank you to the staff and especially the commission for their hard work and dedication and in bringing something like this forward. So exciting to see this come to fruition. I mean, it's just a wonderful plan. You could see that it was so thoughtfully created and developed. So I just wanted to say thank you, and to the veterans, thank you for your service. Thank you for all you do. And I think that having a plan like this shows that us as a city really care about our veterans. And I know we say it all the time, and I know we do, but sometimes actions are louder than words. And so I think that, with this action, I'm just very proud of us as a city, especially of our commission, for all the hard work that they've been putting into this. And so thank you. And I know that this is just the beginning, and I do know and acknowledge that we still have a long ways to go, but I'm really happy with this first step in the right direction.
All right. Next, we have Councilwoman Sorrow.
Thank you. I just want to add my thanks, and I know that this is really all your moment, and so I won't take too much time given how long you've waited since you've done your fair outside, your resource and celebration outside. I just want to say that I'm so appreciative of Vice Mayor's leadership in working with our amazing commissioners and all those involved to getting this plan for us to be able to use it as a guide for our district to better honor and celebrate our veterans. So I just want to say that for me, I will always go to this report every time I want to think about how do I serve and honor and respect our veteran. And one of the things I do want to celebrate as a first step is that last week we did a groundbreaking of Mercy Housing. It's affordable housing where we're going to be able to house older adults as well as veterans experiencing homelessness. So I look forward to when we do a grand opening to be able to take the steps towards meeting the goals in here to housing our veterans who have experienced it. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Councilmember Supernaw.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I was wondering if we could go to public comment and then come back to me. We have some folks here patiently waiting that you can't see, I don't think.
I cannot, but you're the last on our queue, so public comment is next. Anyway, let's go ahead and hear from the public.
If there are any members of the public that would like to speak, please line up at the podium, or if you're attending virtually, please use the raise hand feature or dial *9. Your time begins now.
Lee Charlie, veteran at City Council District 1. I want to say thank you to all the City Council and Commission, and I really want to thank the commissioners. John Oppenheim is going to be speaking behind me. We have single-handedly started getting veterans off the street ourselves. And so I know with the work of John Oppenheim and the Veterans City Council and Commissioner like Gus Orozco, we are single-handedly forming a team and getting the veterans off the riverbed ourselves. So I want to say thank you and acknowledge some people that are speaking after me. But I also want to acknowledge the City Council as I'm canvassing and talking to district members. We have a lot of veterans in District 1, and a lot of property owners don't know what HUD-VASH is. You say HUD-VASH, they go, what? And HUD-VASH is a voucher that the government also backs the difference. And if a property has 4 different units, anybody can accept HUD-VASH. There's an 8-year waiting list once you get your HUD-VASH. So most veterans I know have to go to San Pedro or Anaheim to use their vouchers. I want to see if we can start maybe making the new developers or encourage you to look into HUD-VASH vouchers. And I want to say, second of all, is a lot of property owners and building owners, as like myself, I have 100 different tenants and residents. When there's a break-in, when there's a homeless, when there's anything, I get the call. My door gets knocked at 3 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning. You want a veteran in your building. And so I would encourage all you to maybe look at making these developments accept HUD-VASH. Veterans are amazing tenants, and we can prevent a lot of things. And so we're also clean and we always pay our rent, and for the most part. So I would say please look into the HUD-VASH vouchers a little more, and all these new developments going on in our downtown district. They are, more veterans are desperately needed. And I just want to say thank you enough, and I appreciate it.
Thanks. Well, first of all, I'm going to make this way my wife describes me, short and sweet. My name is John Oppenheim, and I'm an Air Force veteran, and I'm a City of Long Beach resident for 37 years. And I'm both an advocate, and I do service at Century Villages at Cabrillo. And first of all, I want to say that I know Gina really well, and I know how hard she's worked on this. I just want to congratulate you, Gina, for the amount of work you do. As somebody who works in this population, I've worked on for about 8 years now, I got to say that the work that's been done describes the problems. The opportunity that we have right now, or that you have as a city council, is to both pass and fund this and show that Long Beach, the city I love to live in, is a leader in working with veterans. You don't see stuff like this too many places around the country, and I think it's really great, and I encourage you, as I say, to pass it and fund it. Thank you.
Good evening, Honorable Vice Mayor, City Council, city staff, and community supporters. I came up here really just to say thank you for bringing this forward. Thank you for all city staff, especially, I think, for all the time and resources that they put behind all of this strategic plan. My name is Adelita Lopez, and I am a Navy veteran. I am also a Long Beach resident, also a city employee, and so I've been living in the city for about 6 years, and since I've been in the city, I've gotten the opportunity to really network with a lot of incredible veterans in the community. And one thing that continues to, I think I continue to hear over and over is that we just wish that there was some kind of strategic, effort to really bring us all together, because we definitely support one another, we support the community, we serve beyond our time served. I know while I was in service, I had the opportunity to go on a couple of deployments, and so with that, I think sometimes, a lot of times, what isn't noticed is that when we are deployed, when we do complete our times in service, sometimes a lot of veterans don't necessarily know how to translate that time in service to the civilian sector. And so that's what I'm hoping, to get from the strategic plan, and it's something that I saw highlighted, and so I'm really just excited to continue to work with you all, and just thankful that you all brought this forward tonight. And so just thank you all for your time. I look forward to continuing seeing progress on this.
Hi, everyone. My name is Felicia Weiser. I am a Army combat veteran, resident of the 3rd District and of Long Beach for my whole life. I just want to thank everyone for having the opportunity to present this plan here tonight. Most importantly, as mentioned, veteran suicide in Long Beach is 3 times higher than non-veterans. That's a massive number. I think this plan can really help veterans stay connected, especially through goals 1 and 3 specifically. I think those will really help to keep veterans connected to their own community and help hopefully try to get those suicide rates lower than they are now. I also think it's very important for outreach and community for female veterans. We are just generally a smaller number and tend to be overlooked. There's about 1,400 female veterans in Long Beach, according to the World Population Review website. So I, for one, hope this connection starts, and I'd love to reach out to more female veterans that are out there. Thank you.
Good evening, Honorable Vice Mayor and City Council members. My name is Jesse. I'm a U.S. Navy veteran as well here. I'm the founder of a veteran-operated organization here in Long Beach called People of the Earth. Our mission is to improve the quality of life of Long Beach residents by promoting environmental stewardship and mental health awareness. Furthermore, I believe that this strategic plan and all the goals in it will undoubtedly improve the lives of Long Beach veterans and the communities that support them. So I want to just sit here and take a minute to thank everybody, the commissioners and everybody here in front of me and the people that I work with. I want to thank everybody who's done the work to help veterans in the community, and I hope to count on your guys' support as well. Thank you.
Good evening, Vice Mayor. Good evening, council members. Thank you very much for your time. I also very much would like to resonate with the opportunity to present the Veterans Strategic Plan. I am truly appreciative of the many veterans as well as our community leaders who have come and created this this vision set before us. It is a culmination of many years of hard work. It is challenging for veterans to connect to the people and services they need in the areas of housing, education, workforce development, as well as the mental and physical well-being. It is my hope that the city will establish the Office of Veterans in support of this areas of interest, resonating with the fact that nearly 1/3 of veterans under the age of 40 take their own lives within our own city. The Office of Veterans will carry out the goals, objectives, and strategies identified within the plan for the betterment of our city of Long Beach. Thank you very much for your time.
Good evening, Vice Mayor and council members. I am just here to thank you all. Thank you for showing up to our Christmas parties. Thank you for sitting with us in your offices late nights discussing these ideas. And I also want to shoot a special thank you to Lath. Lath, if you'll stand up. So Lath is responsible for the actual design and photographs in this plan, and I don't think I've heard his name once today, so special thanks to him and special thanks to Gina. This document is gorgeous, and I think it stands on its own, so please take the time to read it and share it, and I am so happy that we're finally here. It's been a really long journey, and I'm excited to see what comes next. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Mayor and council members, for allowing us to present the strategic plan. My name is Josh Smith. I go by Smitty. I'm an Army combat veteran. And compared to most other people that talk today, I'm a young one that lives here in Long Beach. I've only been here 12 years. But Long Beach has been long in my family's history. I remember one day calling my grandfather on Veterans Day. He was a World War II Navy Seabee. And sorry, he brings emotion to me, but I remember calling him on Veterans Day and told him that I was in Long Beach, and he told me a story about how much he loved Long Beach, and that he took his first roller coaster ride down at the Pike before he got deployed over to Pacific Theater, and it scared him so much. That was the worst part about it for him, that he never rode another roller coaster again. But he's also taught me how to give back to my veteran community as well. I'm an advocate for the veteran community out there, and the biggest thing that I hear so far is not knowing where to go to get your resources. And it's not so much they've heard of VSOs, they've heard of other places they go to, but they would rather trust to hear from another veteran. The word of a veteran to another veteran is a lot stronger than that of a website or anything else or a book. So one thing that resonated, I think it was Councilwoman Sorrow said that the big thing is to give back. I just lost my train of thought. I apologize. This timer's tricking me up here. So is that there's one thing to say that we support our veterans and we love our veterans, but there's another thing to do action to support your veterans. And the good news is you guys now have a strategic plan in front of you that you can follow and support your veterans. So thank you so much.
Good evening, Vice Mayor and City Council. My name is Navarro Gonzalez. I'm a Marine combat veteran. And I just wanted to express my gratitude to all of you guys for even putting this agenda up on as an item here today. Also thankful for the Veterans Commission for putting this together over the last couple of years. I just wanted to share a quick story because something that's near and dear to my heart is mental health and veteran suicide. Me, myself, I've had two of my close friends from the service die by suicide. One of my buddies actually just overdosed early in February. He was also a combat veteran. So quick story. I'm a part of your district, District 8. I love that city. I love North Long Beach. And when I first got out of the service, I went to the Veterans Day Parade that we hold there. And I didn't wear anything that identified me as a veteran because I didn't know how to deal with that, right? I didn't know how to deal with my transition. So I love what they put together here as a plan. I've always thought about how can I help more? How can I help more of the veteran community, the veteran demographic, not only in Long Beach, but all over the country. I'm actually a facilitator for an organization, a nonprofit organization called Project Welcome Home Troops, and we help veterans through resiliency training. We help them with meditation techniques so that they can help learn how to deal with some of those emotions that, we don't see every day. I just want to leave you guys with this. We send people to combat, we send people to war, and that's, one thing, but when they come back home, they still bring some of those wounds back home. And it's up to you guys now to hopefully implement this strategic plan and help the veterans of Long Beach. Thank you.
Good evening, Vice Mayor and City Council. Thank you so much for giving us time to present the strategic plan. My name is Jesse Blanco, and I'm a commissioner for District 1. And I moved from Rhode Island after my service, and I came here in 2017 to the city of Long Beach. And I noticed there was a lot of different resources available everywhere, but sometimes it got very confusing. So one of the things that Gina kind of presented to us, and we kind of let her know that maybe if we did have a veteran service office, it would be more streamlined information with resources that are vetted. So that way a veteran that's looking for something specific isn't going through 3 different organizations to try to get that. So I hope that perhaps you can look through it and, find it in your heart to move along with setting up a veteran service office and supporting us veterans here at Long Beach. Thank you.
Good evening, Councilman and Vice Mayor Richardson. I guess you're out there somewhere. My name is Sylvia Contreras, and I'm from District 8. So I am the non-veteran, but the veteran's wife. So maybe you could relate to this, but veterans' husbands are kind of tight-lipped about what happens when they were serving. So when I saw the commissioner's spots available back in 2016, Mayor Garcia said, "Oh, we got commissioners' spots available. Come check it out." So I did, and I saw them. I picked 4 of them, and I told my husband, "Hey, that one's for you. You pick that one for the veterans commissioners, and I'll get the other ones." But then he turned it around. He says, "Well, I don't have time. How about you going for the veterans and forget the other ones, right?" So that's how I ended up here. He's an Air Force veteran, and I wanted to bring your attention to goal number 1. It's my favorite one. It says, Long Beach recognizes veterans for their strengths as valued members of our community and regularly celebrates and honors them. That's an ongoing goal. We think of goals that we're always going to achieve them, and then you move on to the next goal. But that one's never going to end. And what I see today is that I hear a lot in the news, World War III, more so than I have in the past years. And what I can say is if something ever happened here while we're in the middle of a conference or something, these guys behind me, I trust them with my life. We butt heads, we don't agree, we disagree, back and forth, but I know when it comes down to something like that, I would trust them with my life. That's how much I have a high esteem, high respect for them. So one of the things that I did a few years ago is I was curious about stats for veterans too. So at that time, pre-COVID, U.S. Census was actually easy to get a hold of by phone. So I called them up and they gave me information and said, "Hey, go here, go there," and I got a hold of these stats. And I was really glad that the stats ended up in our book because I think that's really important. All I can say is it's been an experience. I think I learned more about veterans being a commissioner than being a veteran's wife because, again, they're kind of not very open about a lot of things. And I'm very proud of my husband, and I'm very proud to have served as a commissioner. So thank you.
Our next speaker is Juanita Doppelmore.
Yes, hello, good evening. My name is Juanita Dufflemore, and I'm the Veteran Affairs Commission representing the 9th District. I'm also a U.S. Army veteran. So I would like to thank the Vice Mayor, members of the City Council, for also bringing this agenda item forth tonight. But first and foremost, I would like to thank Vice Mayor Rex Richardson and the co-signers to bring forth and seeing the need for a Veteran Affairs Commission. Thank you for the opportunity to present the Veteran Strategic Plan tonight. Also, I would like to thank the many veterans community, the for-profit and nonprofit, the community-based organizations that advocate for veterans as well. Excuse me. It is, which has been said tonight, it is challenging for veterans to connect to the services. They also need support in areas of housing, education, workforce development. Mental health and mental illness is very huge. Physical health, we have a high rate of PTSD, suicide, sexual trauma, and this also affects the service member, the men and women, the veterans, and their families. They're also impacted. As it has been said tonight, we are hoping that the City Council will establish an Office of Veteran Support to bridge the gap. These resources need to be centralized because we are also all advocating for veterans and the need and the services and the support that they need. But those services are connected. We have the Veteran Resource Center at the library. This is a great opportunity to centralize all these services and provide the information and resources and support that our veterans need. Why? Because we have a library in every city of Long Beach. So we just ask that you support and expand those resources at the library and also provide us with our Office of Veterans. And thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight and for your continued support. Thank you.
That concludes public comment.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. We're going to take it back behind the rail. Councilmember Supernaw, you want to do your comments now?
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to congratulate the commission and staff for reaching this incredible milestone tonight with the strategic plan. I actually attended in person tonight for your reception. I promoted it in our newsletter. Thank you, Smitty, for sending it my way. Unfortunately, the nature of City Council is our meeting started at 4 o'clock also, and we had 3 meetings, and I couldn't get out there. So I apologize for not attending, but I've tried to demonstrate my support in the past. And I also wanted to compliment you on the publication. That's the first thing that Councilwoman Price said to me, blown away by the quality of this publication. And I got a preview of it at the Christmas party. But I'll tell you, this really exceeds expectations. So thank you for a great job on that. Just phenomenal. That's it. I thank you. And my only regret is that I told you no when you asked me to judge the ugly sweater contest. But I'll be there next year for that. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Councilman Supernaw. A great close. Again, congratulations and thank you to everyone who contributed to this plan. Long Beach and not many cities have Veterans Affairs Commission that is dedicated to making sure that we keep veteran issues front and center. Now we have a veteran strategic plan, and if you keep at it and we keep working, we maintain this focus, hopefully we'll be a city with a veteran support office as well. So thank you so much. Let's go ahead to our roll call vote.
District 1?
Aye.
District 2?
Aye.
District 3?
Aye.
District 4?
Aye.
District 6?
Aye.
District 8?
Aye.
District 9?
Aye.
Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you. We just have a few more items to go. Let's have item number 17, please.
Item 17, report from Public Works, recommendation to authorize city manager to execute all documents necessary to amend 6 contracts to update the construction task catalog citywide.
So
moved. Okay, is there a motion and a second? Move Austin. I'll go ahead and second it. Staff, do we have a brief report on this? No need.
Yes,
It's okay.
we can give one
Okay.
if you'd like one. This is
It's
this is
okay.
just an
I'll give it to him.
extension.
Right. It's pretty straightforward. All right. Any public comment on this item?
If there are any members of the public that would like to speak, please line up at the podium, or if you're attending virtually, please use the raise hand feature or dial *9. Seeing none, that concludes public comment.
Thank you. Roll call vote, please.
District 1,
Aye.
District 2,
Aye.
District 3,
Aye.
District 4,
Aye.
District 6,
Aye.
District 8,
Aye.
District 9.
Aye.
Motion is carried 7-0.
Thank you. 2 ordinances. Item 18, please.
Report from Development Services, recommendation to declare ordinance amending and restating Chapter 5.77 related to short-term rentals, read and adopted as read, citywide.
Thank you. Is there a motion and a second?
I would motion.
I think that's Price. I see a second on Zendejas. Any public comment on this?
If there are any members of the public that would like to speak on item 18, please line up at the podium, or if you're attending virtually, please use the raise hand feature. Seeing none, that concludes public comment.
Thank you. Let's have our roll call vote.
District 1,
Aye.
District 2,
Aye.
District 3,
Aye.
District 4,
Aye.
District 6,
Aye.
District 8,
Aye.
District 9.
Aye.
Motion is carried 7-0.
Thank you. 19, please.
Report from Development Services, recommendation to declare ordinance relating to short-term rentals incorporating modifications by the Coastal Commission, read and adopted as read, citywide.
Thank you. Motion and second. I saw Allen and I saw Zendejas. So Allen motion, Zendejas second. Is there any public comment on this?
If there are any members of the public that would like to speak on item 19, please line up at the podium, or if you're attending virtually, please use the raise hand feature. Seeing none, that concludes public comment.
Thank you. Roll call vote, please.
District 1,
Aye.
District 2,
Aye.
District 3,
Aye.
District 4,
Aye.
District 6,
Aye.
District 8,
Aye.
District 9.
Aye.
Motion is carried 7-0.
Fantastic. Thank you. New business, item number 20, please.
Communication from Councilwoman Price, recommendation to increase appropriations in the general fund group by $3,750 for a community concert scheduled for April 3rd, 2022.
Councilman Price?
Make a motion.
Sure. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Austin. Any public comment?
If there are any members of the public that would like to speak, please line up at the podium. If you're attending virtually, please use the raise hand feature. Seeing none, that concludes public comment.
Thank you. Roll call vote, please.
District 1,
Aye.
District 2,
Aye.
District 3,
Aye.
District 4,
Aye.
District 6,
Aye.
District 8,
Aye.
District 9.
Aye.
Motion is carried 7-0.
Thank you. Item 21, please.
Communication from Vice Mayor Richardson, Councilwoman Allen, Councilmember Uranga. Recommendation to request city manager to enter discussions with LA County to partner on establishing a reward of no less than $25,000 for information leading to the arrest of Octavio Montano Islas.
Thank you. I'll take it from here. I'm introducing this motion. We had a tragic circumstance 2 weeks ago in my district. We lost 2 members of our community to a hit and run. 42-year-old Jesse Palacios and 3-year-old Samantha Palacios. It's a deeply heartbreaking circumstance. At the request of the community and the family, I am advancing this request for our city to formally request to partner with LA County on establishing a reward of no less than $25,000 for information leading to the arrest of Octavio Montano Islas. And I'm happy to make this motion. Is there a second? Is your hand up for a second, Councilwoman Allen? Okay, Councilwoman Allen, second. Anything?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that I know how important it is as a former police officer to have these rewards, to get people to come forward that has any information. And I just appreciate you leading on this item. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further council deliberation? Okay, any public comment on this?
If there are any members of the public that would like to speak on item 21, please line up at the podium, or if you're attending virtually, please use the raise hand feature. Seeing none, that concludes public comment.
Fantastic. Let's have a roll call vote, please.
District 1?
Aye.
District 2?
Aye.
District 3?
Aye.
District 4?
Aye.
District 6?
Aye.
District 8?
Aye.
District 9?
Aye.
Motion is carried 7-0.
Thank you. Now we'll have our second public comment.
If there are any members that would like to speak on second public comment, please line up at the podium, or if you're attending virtually, please use the raise hand feature. Your 3 minutes begin now.
Just wanted to make aware that over the weekend we had the demise of a architectural achievement, one of the few that was left in the city. That was a building that was designed by Mr. Killingsworth on 10th Street, and just on the southern campus of St. Mary's. It was tragically lit on fire, and I just wanted to see if there's an opportunity for with all of this oil and cannabis revenue circling around, if we can have some type of repair for, something that was just nearly on the historical, the state register for historical properties within the city, but just bringing that to awareness. Thank you.
That concludes public comment. Oh, I'm sorry.
All right, thank you.
We have one more on the Zoom. Joey King, your 3 minutes begin now.
Hi, I wanted to beckon back to article number 16 on the Veterans Commission's plan of action. I kind of wanted to just reiterate to everybody, everyone seems really pleased with the end result, what they saw today. That's just a snippet of what can happen when you put your veterans to work together. You now have a plan in front of you that was made by veterans, for veterans, with the consultation of veterans. So hopefully we can, as has already been said, not put this on a shelf and put it up in a pretty picture, but actually put it to work. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
That concludes public comment.
Thank you. We'll now go to our closing announcements. I want to turn it over to Councilwoman Sorrow, who requested to close the meeting in honor of Terry Ng. Councilwoman.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. With just a heavy heart, I would like to adjourn in memory of Terry Ng Fong. She survived the genocide in Cambodia to come to America, and I think one of the things people didn't know is she worked for Delta Airlines for many years and retired with them. I think that people don't realize that because she's been a community leader. She previously served as a Citizens Police Complaint Commissioner for the 6th District and has just been a community advocate and has been a supporter locally and abroad in every charity cause you can think of. And I think that she's also received every, city award you could get because of her work. She's been a Grand Marshal for different parades, as well as having served and just being so supportive of various events and causes, and has been a goodwill, ambassador and citizen to Cambodia, to building schools and libraries and wells. I could go on with the amazing contribution, and we are just so sad and shocked of her passing, and just want to send our deep condolences to her family and her friends and everybody who'd known her and worked with her. A celebration of her life will be taking place next Friday, March 25th just give me a moment, at Rose Hill Chapel, and it'll be at 388 Workman Mill Road, Whittier, at 1 p.m. on March 25th. Thank you.
All right. Any other closing comments from the council? Raise your hand or just speak up now. Okay, I'll just add a few. This Saturday, March 19th at 1 p.m., my office will host an open house for our community featuring presentations and resources and information on our Long Beach Recovery Act. We'll have tables from city departments. That's Saturday at 1 p.m. at the Doris Topsy Elbert Community Center. Feel free to email my office at district9@longbeach.gov if you have questions. Next, we are proud to welcome La Supa Birria to Uptown Commons, and their grand opening is this Sunday, March 20th at 11 a.m. So they'll have live music, a raffle, great food. Come welcome a great local restaurant to the 9th District. And thanks so much. Our next meeting will be in person. So we look forward to seeing everyone in person. Thank you so much. Be safe and have a good night.
Vice Mayor, if you would indulge me 1 second, I just want to give
absolutely.
just want to give a shout out to granddaughters Kayla and Ellie who are watching tonight. And girls, it's time for bed.
Time for bed, girls. Thanks, council member. Thanks, everyone. Have a great night.